Hi, I'm Tassie and welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome home, and if you're a new subscriber, make yourself at home by clicking that subscribe button. And welcome to the What Happened To series. For those that may be new here, the What Happened To series is a series that I do on my channel where I cover people and things in pop culture that at one point in time had a major impact and seemingly faded into existence. And today we will be covering the dancing/rap group, The Rangers. But before we get into the video, I do want to give a disclaimer. This video is for entertainment and educational purposes. All facts and people that are mentioned in this video are mentioned for the sake of accuracy. So there might be some people that are mentioned that do not want any affiliation with this group, but you're getting mentioned because it helps me get my point across. Not because I want to start drama, not because I want to initiate a beef or whatever y'all got going on. That has nothing to do with me. And I do want to say that to an extent, to a degree, we are going to get into some legal jargon. And I want it to be clear that I am not pushing a narrative or trying to insinuate anything. Again, this is all for the sake of keeping the facts as accurate as possible. Like I always say, we do not know these people personally, nor were we there for certain events. So we can't fully vouch for anyone's character. We can only speculate as an audience. So just keep that in mind. I always give the facts. I always give credit when it's due. But I don't sugarcoat things and I don't take up for other people just because. I don't do that. I report it exactly how it happened. So with that out the way, if that sounds like something that you're interested in, please stay tuned. And with that being said, let's get straight into this video. So first order of business, who are the Rangers? The Rangers are a dance and rap group whose most recognizable members are Langston, DayDay, and Julian. They became well known on platforms like MySpace and YouTube for participating in the dance craze called Jerkin. Their dance videos would get millions of views and had people across the globe using them as tutorials and inspo for the dance. Their notoriety was so big that they attracted the attention of big celebrities and essentially taught them how to jerk as well. This list includes people such as Soulja Boy, Chris Brown, New Boys, Snoop Dogg, Nick Cannon, Justin Bieber, and many, many, many more that I can't even begin to count. They reached their biggest success when they landed the role in the movie School Dance, where they played dramatized versions of themselves and had their own original music played in the movie. However, shortly after this big break, fans started to notice that members of the group started making their own independent music. This phenomenon started to happen for such a long time that eventually it was just inferred by the fans that the group was no longer a group. And ever since this alleged breakup, it seems like the traces of the legacy that they left behind, as well as certain relics of the jerking era, are being scrubbed away from the internet as we speak. So that leads us to the big question. What happened to the Rangers? So one of the big obstacles that would affect the success of the Rangers is the eventual departure of certain group members. So quick history lesson. The Rangers were originally just a group of friends that used to dance for fun after school and post videos online. They originally went by the Go-Go Power Rangers, but obviously for copyright reasons, they had to change it to the Rangers. At this time, it was estimated that the amount of members that were in the Rangers were about 15 to 20 different boys. I kid you not. So I'm going to name all the members that I was able to find based off of databases, based off of like MySpace pages, old YouTube videos and stuff like that. But I'm sorry, I'm not naming all 20. I'm not naming all 20. I'm so sorry. I don't have the time to even look for that many people. So shout out to y'all if you don't get mentioned. But yeah, these were the people that I was able to find. So obviously we had Langston, Julian, and DayDay. There were also members like Frank, CeeJay, Spank, YT, James, Jordan, Deontay, Quamar, Jesse. Don't want to say the name wrong, but I want to say Kamal. It's spelled Kamau. I hope I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. Now again, those were just all the names that I could find for this particular time period. Now, like I said, this originally was just a group of friends that happened to all be in high school and had a common interest, which was participating in the Jerkin dance craze. As time went on, obviously certain people drifted apart from each other, and eventually the group would dwindle down to only 7 members. This group consisted of Frank, CeeJay, Julian, Langston, Spank, DayDay, and Dante. And I'm not 100% sure, but I think this was around the time where Corey became a part of the group as well. But Corey came in like way later, so I'm not 100% sure. Eventually, they would get another member named Spotlight who came from another jerking team called the LOL Kids. So around the time that Corey and Spotlight got added to the group, this was when 3 of the members decided that they no longer wanted to be a part of the Rangers. And these members consisted of Frank, Spank, and CeeJay. And this departure would be the first hit that the Rangers would get during their path to success. So with the Rangers essentially being these YouTube sensations at the time, they started to take their brand a little bit more serious. They went from being just a bunch of kids that used to dance after school to actually trying to break out into the entertainment business and also develop music. And since they were becoming official, this is when contracts began to roll out. And when the contracts came out, this is when the group started to have issues. So according to Frank, Spank, and CeeJay, the contents of the contract were not to their liking. And there were things in that contract that they just did not agree with, and they agreed that they would essentially be more effed over than actually benefiting from what was in the contract. And since they couldn't come to an agreement about the contents within the contract, Frank, Spank, and CeeJay decided that they were going to leave the Rangers.
Okay, somebody just said it. We left because of some contract situations. Because we were going to be, like, pretty much dicked over.
So this caused drama for the Rangers for 2 different reasons. For starters, from what I was able to research, CeeJay was one of the fan favorites. People loved CeeJay. So when CeeJay had left the group, a big chunk of the Rangers fan base left right with him. And the second issue is because with this new knowledge out that there was something in those contracts that they did not like, even though it was never specified exactly what it was, the fan base themselves automatically chopped it up to somebody on the Rangers camp is trying to scam people and take money. So when the fan base heard this, they automatically had a label against the Rangers, basically trying to insinuate that somebody in their camp was real grimy and they were up to no good. And there were a lot of people that just could not get with that, so they also decided that they were not going to be fans of the Rangers anymore. And unfortunately, the issue doesn't stop there. So when the members Frank, Spank, and CeeJay left, they not only left the Rangers, but they also decided that they were going to make their own group. And this group was called Jerkin Incorporated Entertainment, shortened down to Jink ENT. And of course, this caused a rivalry between Jink and the Rangers. Now, there were already comparisons starting to form between the 2 groups, but it got even worse when Jink allegedly was stealing flows and stealing dance moves from the Rangers.
CeeJay, Frank, and dog, they just backstabbed us. Like, they used our name to get to the BT Awards. Like, that's fucked up. Like, and then people call us mean for dropping him. They dropped their self.
And Frank, sorry, but this new style that you have is not working out.
With his moves in it, with his moves, really his moves.
That's extra, dog. That's extra.
But y'all,
I don't care.
Y'all do what y'all do. Y'all gonna support that shit.
Support some snakes. Y'all supporting snakes. Y'all supporting Jink Pink Entertainment. Jink Pink Entertainment, my nigga.
Hey, what that shit mean, my nigga?
Like, what does that shit mean?
Yeah, he said that.
Jerkin and no compliment.
Jerkin and no compliment.
Jerkin and no compliment.
Jerkin and
Jink Entertainment.
This then caused both groups to go back and forth dropping diss songs about each other, which this was news to me. I had no idea that the Rangers in the Jerkin era went that deep. I had no clue. But yeah, they dropped multiple diss tracks against each other and even had their moments where they would go live and throw shots at each other.
Like, and then, like,
That's why they was acting Hollywood. They was acting Hollywood as fuck.
in their new video, they can't jerk. CeeJay sucks. Frank sucks. Frank always sucked. So
Frank didn't suck.
What the heck? Like, this little rap thing coming out, Mike Almighty. Mike Almighty, nuts in your mouth, like, the fuck, like, I don't give a fuck, like, you already know I want to fade, Frank, so it's nothing like live broadcast, care who hears it, like, the fuck, like, that's what he fucking, exactly, who is Spank? You see the comments, who is Spank? Nobody knows who Spank is. Like, they left the group, like,
We didn't kick them out. They left themselves.
Like they have a little cocky attitude. Only they care about was money. Like, it's not about money.
All they care about is money. That's
get out of here.
To me, my niggas, our play around freestyle, when we be playing around and freestyling, sounds better than the verses in that song if you pay attention, my nigga.
Like, what did that nigga say?
And now,
my nigga said, you know I'm chasing females. Ha.
Ha.
He said,
Ha. Females, ha.
I always thought that nigga Spank was gay. He was on the street
like,
called gay. Who out there? Frank gay. I think Frank likes the boy in middle school.
yeah.
In middle school, Frank liked the boys.
Huh? I'm not even gonna put that nigga business out there like that. That's on some personal shit.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Like, that's
I wouldn't even do that to them. Like, that's on some personal shit. Like,
so does anybody in Rangers want to fight any of these people?
Yeah,
but we're not. We can't fight.
We can't fight.
I'm just asking the question.
I want to fight CeeJay.
Spotlight says he wants to fight CeeJay.
But for what? Spotlight has no reason.
Spotlight, why do you want to fight
Like,
CeeJay?
Spotlight has no reason to fight.
And then CeeJay.
Oh, and they said you'll get your ass whooped.
Yeah, right.
CeeJay has no hands, dog. Did you see him?
Scared of me.
CeeJay's a little girl. Like,
CeeJay giggles, man. He giggles.
He's feminine. He's feminine.
Dog, last year he was a nobody. To this year, this is the only year he has fits. Like, he still doesn't have fits.
That nigga sus.
That nigga, he calls hot dogs weenies, my nigga.
Shut up, Spotlight. Shut up.
You know, if y'all, I hope y'all ain't recording this because you know, straight up, don't stop. I'm gonna fight him straight up. Hey,
Dog. Man, Frank, dude, they said sorry. Stupid.
Julian's still talking. See?
We don't care, dude. We're not.
Yeah, we don't care. Like, I'm just saying. Hey, DayDay look like a street shark.
He talks a lot of trash. But inside, we really still love them guys.
It's because they talking smack and we ain't even talking smack about them. They just doing it by themselves. So I just thought I'd just let y'all know.
No, we're not tripping off this stuff. You know.
We're not even tripping about it. It's just like whatever. I'm just playing. Like, they still bros to me. They still cool. But like, I just know I can't be as close as
I bought Julian a cookie that same week, or the week before. It was a cookie. It was nice. Miss Fields. Those are cool, man. A cookie, yes, a cookie. It was a big one too. My money.
What kind of cookie?
It was a sugar cookie. Man, DayDay will go night messing with me. Kid on my jerk.
And to add insult to injury, this is very much alleged because I legit could not find any proof besides like some tweets of people talking about it. But to add insult to injury, it was also reported that Jink was allegedly going by the name PR Boys to book shows and events. And this would cause a lot of confusion because keep in mind that during this time, the Rangers were still very well known as Go-Go Power Rangers, which would often be shortened to GGPR or PR. So seeing a name like this attached to who is supposed to be the previous members of PR, it had a lot of people confused and had them thinking that CeeJay, Frank, and Spank were back into the Rangers, along with the other additional members that they had added to Jink. And then for people that were genuinely coming to see the Rangers, thinking that the PR boys were the Rangers, they would eventually end up seeing Jink instead of who they came to see. So here's a tweet from a fan that was retweeted by Julian, and it says, "Spank is a liar, young, because I remember this one party they performed at, and they used Power Rangers, and I was so confused." And it's a large possibility that during this process, a lot of people decided right then and there that they had more favoritism towards Jink than the Rangers. And as far as the business aspect of all of this also was a huge issue because at this time, number one, YouTube was very new. Okay, it was very new. Number two, social media was very new. So monetizing your presence on the internet was not really all that accessible. It wasn't really all that easy. And again, they were dabbling in making music, but they were not 100% committed to music just yet. So the only way that the Rangers were making money at this time was through booking events and shows, whether it was at local high schools, public events, etc., etc. So because again, I'm not 100% sure, but it's been talked about, if Jink was legit going by the stage name the PR Boys, there is a likely chance that certain event coordinators probably booked them thinking that they were booking the Rangers, and that essentially would make the Rangers miss out on money that was actually owed to them. So here are a few tweets from Julian about the situation, and he says, "It's funny how y'all ride for Jink, but they use our name for shows we a part of, stealing our money basically, haha. By the way, someone's going around promoting PR Boys on events, and it's been mistaken for the Rangers. PR Boys are not GGPR, Rangers, or Power Rangers. We were referred to as PR Boys in the past as a nickname for GGPR, and someone's biting our swag heavy, LOL. Imitation is the fondest form of flattery, ha ha ha, or however that saying goes, but again, don't confuse these dudes with the Rangers/GGPR. So unfortunately, this would be a big chunk of money that the Rangers were just not going to get. So with all of that combined, that definitely made major damage very early on in their careers. And unfortunately, this would not be the last split up of the group. And one specific member's departure would be seen as being very impactful. So by this phase, the Rangers were finally known as the Rangers. They completely dropped GGPR and they only went by the Rangers. So at this time, the group consisted of Julian, Langston, DayDay, Corey, and Spotlight. Shortly after the release of their first mixtape that was accompanied with a DVD documentary, Corey would eventually leave the group, and the group will be down to just 4 members. And I will say that this variation of the group definitely had better chemistry than those prior. No shade, but it's the truth. And with the group being smaller, it was easier for each individual member to express their personalities way more. So in typical boy band fashion, you had the member Julian, who was known as being a rebellious bad boy and also the creative genius behind majority of the projects. Langston was the classic lover boy, pretty boy, practically a stereotypical fan fiction boy. I kid you not. You know that trope where a girl goes to the concert and for whatever reason her favorite artist sees her in the crowd, falls in love with her, and it's like,
ask your mom if you can tour with us for the rest of the tour.
And then eventually, like, the girl ends up pregnant and they get married in the future. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if he actually did that. Minus the pregnancy. But I wouldn't be shocked. I genuinely wouldn't be shocked. This is the type of man that Langston is. So pretty boy, lover boy, heartthrob, whatever you want to call it. DayDay had a very laid back persona. He essentially was the peacemaker of the group. And I don't know why it took me years to find this out, but he is very religious. He is a God-fearing man, which there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, do you know what you signed up for? Like, were you not aware of who these people were? That's none of my business. And And then there was Spotlight. Spotlight was somewhat of the outlier of the whole entire group, because even though he definitely fit in and he definitely had good chemistry with the other members, Spotlight was very edgy. Spotlight was very emotional.
I'm nervous.
Why?
This is my first time.
But he was very creative and multi-talented. So this variation of the group is probably the second most known variation of the Rangers, and this was the group that pushed the most content and toured often. So by this point, this is where you started to see a lot of fan pages, a lot of like fan fictions being written. This is really when fans started to become really invested in the Rangers. But unfortunately, there would come a point in time where Spotlight just abruptly announced that he was no longer a part of the Rangers. And when I say abruptly, I mean abruptly. There was still music and music videos that were being put out that still had his vocals on it. Some of the music videos had him in it, but then there were times where sometimes Spotlight wouldn't be in it at all. And I believe that one of their projects were being released at this time. I want to say this was The Takeover. I gotta double check that, but I want to say that this was around the time that The Takeover was supposed to be released. So even before the release of that mixtape, which had Spotlight on the cover and on majority of the vocals that were on there, Spotlight was just no longer there. Why is that? So obviously, with this abrupt departure, that had a lot of fans side-eyeing the Rangers. Because with Jink already announcing to the world that there was something iffy about management, and considering the fact that this was the third time that the Rangers had lost a member, that definitely had a lot of people questioning what was going on with the Rangers. But not only that, as I said earlier, this was the version of the group where people were very, very invested in them. And Spotlight was also a fan favorite. So when Spotlight left, it left a noticeable hole in the group. Spotlight had the nickname Spotlight for a reason. Even though he had great chemistry with the other members of the group, he definitely was in his own lane and stood out. Everyone had a different swag to them that kind of complemented each other, but Spotlight had more of a, I don't want to say grunge, but it was definitely way more edgy. He was definitely given some vibes of like being like a punk rocker. So even visually, he just always was the person that you paid attention to as opposed to the other three. This also was included in his artistic abilities as well. He had a style of jerkin that mixed in with the typical West Coast jerkin culture, as well as some East Coast dance moves. And in the music, you would often hear his vocals, which were actually very good, very well, like honestly very decent for him to be as young as he was. And due to his vocal ability, it definitely helped the Rangers' music stand out way more, because even though they were going towards the classic West Coast style of rap and dance music, they also had an element of R&B mixed into it because of Spotlight and a little bit of Julian's vocals, because Julian can sing too. And not only did he sing, but he also could spit a few bars. And as far as his personality goes, as I already previously touched on it before, Spotlight was the emotional type. And he never hesitated to cry. He never hesitated to show that he was uncomfortable, that he was upset. And you know, there was a niche of women that really dig that. They really liked that. So overall, Spotlight definitely had his own fan base within the Ranger fan base. So Spotlight leaving the group was literally a noticeable hole for majority of the fan base. And again, with him leaving so abruptly, we want to know why. Now remember, like I said, it was stated that Spotlight was the one that decided to leave the group. It would come out a little bit of time later that Spotlight actually never left the group. Spotlight got kicked out of the group. So again, during this time, the Rangers were promoting their next upcoming mixtape called The Takeover. For the fans that were tuned in to every single upload that they made on YouTube, Spotlight as well as fans started to notice that the Rangers were doing a lot of videos and a lot of promotional material without Spotlight being present. And again, there were even times where certain music videos were being uploaded and they have Spotlight's vocals. But where is Spotlight?
And right now, we're just filming a little cool music video for our song, I'm Feeling Myself. We missed the Spotlight, though. Shout out to the bro Spotlight. So, yeah, we just doing this for fun, you know, just doing a cool little video. So, enjoy it.
And you know we live. Reckless, you know what it is.
So, eventually, Spotlight got fed up. And he pretty much went on, like, I can't even say a Twitter tirade. But he was noticeably pissed. Again, our boy's emotional. So, you know. So Spotlight takes to Twitter and he says, "What's up with all these songs that recently got put out without me on them? F the Rangers. Dudes keep putting ish out without me. If I was to put music out on my own, I would get in trouble. Bull effing ish. I'm not angry. I'm just fed up with not being able to speak my effing mind." And that same day, he got a call from someone. Not sure if it was management, not sure if it was a member of the Rangers, but the person that was on the other side of that phone call pretty much let Spotlight know that he was now officially kicked out of the group because of his tweet. But in order to keep the peace and decrease the backlash on both ends, it was just agreed amongst both parties that Spotlight was going to come out and say that he went solo. "Those were my bros. They really taught me a lot, but I have to move on. No longer going by Spotlight. Lavelle Phantom is the new alias. Time to let go of the past. Continue to support my bros and show them love, though. They still taking over, just without me." But the peace would only last for 4 days. Yeah, it would only last for 4 days. Reason being is because Spotlight started to receive a lot of hate. There were people insinuating that he was selfish for abandoning the group at this point of their careers. They were making remarks about, "Who do you think you are? After everything the Rangers done for you, after everything Julian did for you, how could you abandon them at their time of need?" So after having enough, Spotlight decided to delete his initial announcement video because he also made an announcement video announcing that he was going solo. He deleted that announcement video and took to Twitter again and went on a tirade. Honestly, can we move on to a different subject, please? Why are we living in the past? What's done is done. No coming back, even if I wanted to. I wonder if I should still celebrate the album release. Okay, people, I really didn't quit. I got kicked out. Now stop effing bashing me. F. Unfortunately, it's not clear as to what exactly the official Twitter page of the Rangers had said because they had deleted those tweets. But all you need to know is that they said something that Spotlight did not appreciate. So Spotlight responded, "Y'all called me the morning after I said F y'all for continuously dropping music without me and said everyone decided on it. So don't try to make it look like I just up and left, because I didn't." Now, I must say, this explains a lot. Because I remember when I was researching to do this video, there was this interview that happened shortly after the breakup. And it consisted of the Rangers, Young Sam, and Spotlight, who at this time was going by Lavelle Phantom. This clearly was an interview that was made for the Rangers that consisted of 4 members. But I guess since they already had like somewhat of an agreement or something of that nature, Spotlight had to show his face. And honey, when I tell you, I watched that video not knowing any of this information initially, and I'm just sitting there awkward. I'm like, I want to run out the room, and I'm not even in the room because the tension, it was a lot. It was a whole lot. And what's crazy is I could tell by the video Young Sam felt it too. We were both kind of having the same expression on our face. I'm like, what is going on? It's more to the story. What's happening? So yeah, I must say that answered a lot of questions that I had initially. To a degree, I'm jumping ahead of the story, but it is relevant, which is why I'm talking about it. But as of recently, Langston has been doing reaction videos on his YouTube channel. And during the reaction videos, he tends to give a little bit of insight on what was happening behind the scenes. And Langston confirmed that Spotlight had got kicked out the group. And as for Corey did decide that he wanted to pursue other avenues, other things that he was interested in. But Langston also kind of insinuated that there was sort of kind of a push to get Corey out of the group. You know, I try to make these videos as professional as possible, but I have made peace with the fact that if there's not at least one segment in the video with me with a bonnet on and no makeup, I did not eat that video up. Like, I just made peace with it at this point because I swear every time I get ready to edit, something happens every single time. So here's the thing. Around the time that I decided to do this video, one of the first pieces of information that I seen was that Langston was on YouTube doing reaction videos to old Rangers content. I watched probably about 3 videos, literally a total of 3 videos, and then the next thing I know, he privated all the videos. And that happened for like some months. Like, it was a really long time ago, and eventually he unprivated majority of the videos. So I thought, like, okay, perfect, like now I don't have to do X, Y, and Z, because you know I always find a way to finesse. And I'm thinking that he unprivated all the videos, but it turns out that there's 2 videos that are still on private. One of these videos is when he expands upon the situation with Corey, but he doesn't go too much into detail. And then there's another video that I was going to use later on, like for a later segment, where he talks about management and he goes a little bit more in depth in that. So as I'm going to try and retrieve these clips, I'm looking and I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. I remember him saying these things. I remember him talking about Corey. Where is this video? And I think I had left a comment on that video too, I think. Not 100% sure. But yeah, so I'm like, I know I'm not crazy. I know I'm not tripping. So I went on his page. He has a whole playlist of his reaction videos. And just so y'all are aware, there are those 2 privated videos. There are those 2 videos that I was going to use in this video, but I can't access them. And y'all probably don't even care, but I just wanted y'all to be aware, like, I didn't just make that up. Like, I didn't just pull that out of thin air and say like, oh yeah, well, Langston said it. No, he did say it. It's just, we can't see it no more. And I think it might be for good reason. I think it might be some reasons that were happening behind the scenes, which is why we don't know. But I just wanted to make that very clear, because I am not putting dirt on nobody's name. I'm not trying to lie on nobody. This is what happened, and here is the proof. But never fear, I do have a clip of him talking about Spotlight being kicked out, and this is the clip that you're going to see.
Now, I don't think Spotlight should have got kicked out the way he did. But bro went on Twitter and said some disrespectful shit about the group. But that could have been just some anger, like a mood swing, just a mood at that moment. Like, that's how he felt. You know, niggas went to Twitter. Julian seen the tweet. Julian kicked him out, and you know, I don't really remember if we had like a vote or anything, or like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I think Julian was just like, you know what, that's it. So
obviously this does not help the Rangers' reputation at all. So to wrap this section up, why was this an obstacle for the Rangers? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we all heard the drama at this point with all these split ups. But the reason why this was such a hard-hitting issue is that all this information that I just told you, all this drama, all of it, all these breakups and interviews and all of that, this happened within the span of 1.5 years.
What?
Yeah. So, pretty much as soon as the Rangers decided, hey, let's become professional and break out into the music industry and the entertainment industry, all of these things started happening practically at once. Because 1.5 years, this sounds like something that happened at least for 5 years. At least. No, babe. No. 1.5 years. 1.5 years. So since the Rangers had started off on YouTube as just something casual, they essentially were still appealing to a niche community, because again, at this time period, YouTube was not the YouTube that we know today. But the impact that they had on YouTube, trust me, they were lethal enough to be booked. They were lethal enough to be known, but they were still in that category of we know of them, but we don't know them. During this time period, if you really wanted to make it big, the way to go about it was reality TV. We were just entering the prime of social media. So social media presence, it wasn't really all that big of a deal. It wasn't really a thing back in this time. So at this time, the Rangers were banking on being signed to somebody. They couldn't depend on SoundCloud. They couldn't depend on just going viral on YouTube. They had to get a record deal. They had to be signed. They had to have somebody take a chance on them and want to see them on TV. They had to. So now that we're really getting in our bag trying to be bigger, and this is the appeal that you give your new audience, Yeah, that did some damage. That definitely did some damage. A year and a half. Yeah. Now, thankfully, that didn't stop them from doing anything. They still kept the ball rolling. They still were putting out content and they still were putting out music. But there is a reason why we're making this video. So another obstacle that the Rangers would face would unfortunately be their behavior. Teen angst has always been a popular genre within the music industry, so being a little rebellious is nothing new amongst teenagers and people trying to appeal to the teenage audience. In the 90s, we had gangsta rap that showcased the rough realities of teens and young adults living within the inner cities. In the 2000s, we had emo music that showcased not only the depression that teens faced at the time, but also the political rebellion of most millennials. So when we got to the 2010s, teen angst was essentially seen as being laid back, carefree, and doing whatever you wanted to do. And for whatever reason, we as a society just decided that California was like the prime example of what that attitude was. So from the music to the fashion, everyone wanted to vibe out and upgrade their swag. And with the Jerkin era on the come up, music industries were searching for the next big thing. So at this time, we got artists like YG, Tyga, Ty Dolla $ign, and the people who would change not only the music scene, but also the fashion scene on a global scale. The New Boys. So let's talk about the New Boys for a second. The New Boys were a rap duo from Hesperia, California. They're most popularly known for their hit song, You're a Jerk, the clothes that they chose to wear, including the infamous skinny jeans, and showcasing the jerk dance in their music video. From that moment on, the jerk movement exploded and the career of the New Boys went up. Skinny jeans, especially colorful ones, became a huge trend. Mixing rock star style accessories with streetwear fashion became the new norm. And with them making such a huge splash in the music industry, as always, music industries tend to see a formula and want to replicate it. So this is how we ended up with groups like The Rejects, Cali Swag District, and even Audio Push. But what about the Rangers? The crazy thing is that during this era, the Rangers actually played a very massive role in the jerking era. Jerkin was already a popular dance craze going through the West Coast, and it was slowly making its way across America because of the Rangers' presence on YouTube. But it wouldn't take off and become as mainstream or as global as it was until the New Boys had came along. Most people heavily affiliate the New Boys as being the ones that essentially created the jerking movement, the jerking era, and the dance itself. But what most people don't know is that the New Boys actually were never jerkers. They were never a dance group. They didn't even initially know how to do the dance. Basically what it was that the New Boys were a rap duo. Their main focus was music. They wanted to ride the wave of the jerkin movement, and they seen that there was never any song specifically made for people to jerk to. There were certain songs that were popular to jerk to, and to a degree you could do it to pretty much any song that had a certain beat to it. But there were no songs that were specifically made for jerkers. So this is when the members Ben, Jay, and Legacy decided to come together and make the song You're a Jerk. But when it was time to perform this song and make the music video, they didn't know how to jerk at all. And this is where the Rangers came in. The New Boys would reach out to the Rangers and did a little bit of networking with them. And eventually, they would not only learn the jerkin culture, but they would also learn a lot about the LA culture.
We started out having a relationship with the New Boys. I'm gonna say this, we taught them how to jerk, and they didn't give us a shout out.
And not only did the Rangers help out with teaching them to dance, there were also multiple times where the New Boys would have live performances and the Rangers would essentially be their background dancers. And they even heavily made an appearance in the music video. And the impact of the Rangers didn't start there, because unbeknownst to a lot of people, including me, when the New Boys first dropped the song You're a Jerk, Julian had made his own dance video to the song, and it essentially went viral. So since the Rangers already had clout on platforms like MySpace and YouTube, it helped the song get a lot of traction over to the New Boys. Now, I do want to take a second to clarify that I always say that there is never a first to do anything. At the end of the day, the impact is the impact, and we can identify that the New Boys definitely had a more impactful time than the Rangers. I 100% give them that credit. I 100% give them kudos. But I will say it is crazy in retrospect when you actually go back and look at old Jerk videos and you look at the New Boys and all the times that they danced. And the way it's just a clear difference between the two dances. It's just a clear difference in how the New Boys are jerking as opposed to the typical average jerkers during that time. It's no shade at all. Trust me, it's no shade at all. But the New Boys essentially had a watered down version of what the jerk actually was. But I don't knock them for that, because I feel like with their more simpler toned down version of what the dance is, encouraged a lot of people to want to try the dance themselves. And once they got that little bit of confidence doing that little skipping backwards, they then started to get enveloped in the jerk movement in general, within the culture, and they started to discover multiple groups, including the LOL kids, including the action figures, and obviously including the Rangers. So essentially everybody eats at the end of the day, which is why I don't feel like it's important to say who did what first and who did this and who did that. But the whole reason why I'm pointing this out is because the success of the New Boys essentially became the blueprint for the whole entire music industry. So with them being the blueprint, it would seem that the obvious answer would be, okay, next up is going to be the Rangers. Because by this point, the Rangers had enough credentials to where they could have been the next big thing. They had their platform already built on MySpace and YouTube. They had a mixtape out. They had plenty of music videos. And they even had their own DVD. So in a business aspect, the Rangers would definitely be a safe option to sign. So why is it that when the door was knocked down by the New Boys, the Rangers didn't come in immediately after? And the reason being is because the Rangers were a little bit more rebellious than what the music industry was ready for at that time. So again, this was when the internet wasn't completely new, but the idea of a digital footprint and the idea of building a presence on social media definitely was in its infancy. So one thing that benefited the New Boys massively is that when the New Boys made their MySpaces and Twitters and YouTubes and stuff like that, they only posted things that were in interest of their music. They only posted things that were in interest of them growing and developing their careers. Whereas with the Rangers pretty much followed in the footsteps of the artist Soulja Boy, where they not only limited themselves to their artistic abilities as far as dancing or as far as just their music, they did vlogs and they went live on sites like TinyChat and Justin TV. So keep in mind, this was a group of friends that just decided to dance on camera one day and it got uploaded to YouTube. There were no plans to make a career off of this. There was no plans to eat off of this. So a lot of their initial content was very much just a regular average day for them, as just some random high schoolers that lived in Los Angeles, California. So even though their rebellious nature gave them an audience to attract, this also would do a lot of damage to their careers. So keep in mind that at this time, the Rangers were the ages of 15 to 16 years old. Part of their shtick when they were doing these jerkin dance moves was they usually jerked in very obscure places. So you would often see them jerking on top of buildings, flipping off of cars, hanging out of moving cars, hanging off of stairwells, standing on vending machines, and even in the streets past moving cars. Not only that, in a lot of their vlogs or in a lot of the early segments of some of their dance videos, you would also find them to an extent harassing service workers and even patrons of said environment.
Fucking knee slap, but look at that nigga haircut.
Oh, why we on that nigga? That nigga got a ski ball.
Yes. Excuse me. Can you jerk? Can you jerk? You won't even see that. Look. Go ahead. Alright, man. Why are Burger King is not fucking serving us? What? Burger Queens, nigga.
Yeah. Towels? Those are our towels. I can do the voice. Come on, guys. Get your towels. Huh? Get your towels, nigga.
Oh, my bad. I ordered those for across the hall. I didn't think you would bring them so soon. You can't get out of here. You're gonna die tonight, sir. I'm sorry. No. Okay. I was playing. Have a good day, sir.
Hey man, go get that new Ranger album. Rangers! Yeah. Rangers, it fell off though, but get that, got that. Alright, can I get the meatball marinara? I want the meatball marinara and the new Ranger album! Come on. Hey bro, why you look like a fucking... Rangers. You already know. Get that new Ranger album. Oh. Oh, excuse me. You didn't. Oh, no, you didn't. I know you didn't just shoot me away. No, you didn't just shoot me away. I want you to go get that new Ranger album. You see? This is the Rangers. Go get the new album. Please. Go get the new Ranger album. Please.
And it was to a point to where years later, very deep in their careers, they had planned to do an interview at the Taco Bell that pretty much started it all. And they found out during the interview that they were banned from that Taco Bell because of all the things that they were doing in those videos in the past.
Look, man, listen, we getting kicked out right now.
They're trying to kick us out of Taco Bell.
Music, you know, TV, you feel me? Quick drop for y'all. Music, music,
Shout
you
out to
know.
Angie, you feel me?
You know, TV, nigga.
You feel me?
What's going on, music lovers? Something just happened. The Rangers and I just got kicked out of Taco Bell where it all started for them.
Man. I'm saying, that's sus, man. That's sus, man.
And another thing that was really appealing about the Rangers at this time were the commentary that they used to give a lot, which would include a lot of vulgar statements and a lot of curse words.
It's Monday and Tuesday. Give me the shit. Hey. Whoever's trying to come to Julian's house to fuck right now, whoever's trying to come. Yeah! Look at that nigga Langston! Whoever's trying to come fuck right now, come to Julian's house. Like, for real, like, he lives, like, where do you live? Where you live? Don't tell him where I live. You already told him twice, nigga, shut up. Nah. Hey, DayDay, when you growing your mohawk back? Get you already asked that, bitch! I fucked the bitch in this store, my nigga, with that shit.
What is your favorite ice cream flavor?
How many?
Pussy. I'm just playing. Honestly,
a big old booty. Now that's a big old butt. That's a big old booty. That's a big old butt. Yeah, that's a big old booty. What? That's a big old butt. A big old what? A big old butt. A big old butt. That's a big old butt. Can I squeeze your butt? Yeah, can I squeeze your booty? Cause that's a big old butt. That's a big old butt. Yeah. Big old booty.
Tattoo on the cheek.
Big old butt.
Tattoo on
got
the
some
butt
manly
cheek.
hands with a big old butt.
Tattoo
big old
on the butt cheek.
Yeah. Big old booty. Can I kiss your butt? Can I kiss your butt?
Oh, we're about to make Ranger clothing, my nigga. Ranger in the house, like, yow. Ranger toys, Ranger condoms, Ranger guns, Ranger sidekicks,
Ranger candy,
Ranger thongs,
Ranger
pencils,
Ranger candy, my nigga. That shit gonna be tight.
It's gonna blow up in your mouth.
Yes.
No homo.
Yeah, it's gonna be bust.
It's like a rainbow of flavors on your tongue.
Yeah.
The whole. But what do you
guys look for in girls?
Hey,
I look for ass and titties.
I don't even like. Hey, I don't even like girls. I look for personality.
Hey, no, I'm just playing. Yeah, personality.
I'm like, I like titties, my nigga. I got a titty fetish, my nigga. Everybody, I got a titty fetish, my nigga. My girl, whoa. I tell you what I look for in a girl. Hey, we already got off that topic. Go ahead. I want to be on the topic. This is what I look for in a girl. Okay, nigga. Wait. Personality.
Personality.
My grandpa gonna see this shit.
I look for. She gotta be. I look for ass and titties.
Not to mention, this was also around the time where they started to get into like tattoos and piercings. Julian, oh my God, that boy's crazy. Julian was fully tatted before he was even the age of 18. I'm talking whole body. It looks great though. I love people who have good tattoo placements though. So I will say that it looks amazing. That is great. But we were young. We were very young. And this boy wasn't even 18 yet. And there's no room left on his body for pretty much anything. And I know he's going to find some room now. I know he is. But yeah, the boy was tatted. Okay. And I guess because Julian was somewhat addicted to getting tattoos, that made the others follow suit. So then you have Langston getting tattoos, you have DayDay getting tattoos, you have Spotlight getting tattoos. And speaking of Spotlight, again, his edgy personality, this boy dyed his hair and then got a lip piercing. I think he got a nose piercing at some point as well. I could be wrong though.
Spotlight did that shit. Hey, you wanna see it? Spotlight's nasty. Spotlight's disgusting for getting that shit.
But yeah, they were doing a lot and we were fairly young. Now, I will say that those that grew up in the 2010s, this really wasn't that abnormal. Like, this was during the time where people started to, experiment with getting like their piercings and getting tattoos and dyeing their hair crazy colors and stuff like that. But again, this was just a different time period. So to the average person, it was a lot for y'all to barely be at the age of 18 and one of the members of your group is fully tatted. And then the other one just has all this going on. And another thing that I just do not want to point out, but I have to for the sake of accuracy of this video, whether it was on a live video or whether it was in a live performance at an event, another thing that the Rangers were very popular for were these segments that they called stroke sessions. What is a stroke session, you might ask? Well, kids, once upon a time, it was a very popular piece of content where predominantly men would sit in a room and begin to hump furniture and sometimes the air. And don't ask me why it was popular. Don't ask me why. I don't know. I think it was because at that time we weren't on Orange YouTube. I think some of us were too scared to go there. So we still had very pea-sized brains when it came to stuff of that nature. So this was the best that we could do, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, they did that. They did that a lot, actually. Like a lot. Like a lot. And again, they already had a platform on YouTube, so essentially anything they put out went viral. But those were the videos that would just do mega numbers. Mega. And no, I'm not going to show them. I want to be clear about that. I'm not going to show you those. I'm not. All right? I'm not going to show you those because even though they are older than me, and this is something that happened a long time ago, I am soon to be 26, okay? I would feel weird posting 15, 16-year-olds humping each other. So I'm just not going to do that. Even though the 15, 16-year-olds in question are very much going into their 30s. It still is just weird. You know, it's very weird. And second of all, I'm pretty sure that that's the reason why their YouTube channel is deleted. Shocker. The YouTube channel is deleted, if you didn't know. So I don't want that to happen to me. So for the sake of, you know, keeping everybody safe and us not having no issues, I will not be showing you those clips. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And if you want to go see it, you go search it by yourself. But I don't want no parts. Okay? I don't want no parts. Now let's get back on track because I dozed off. So let's be real. Let's just be real for a second. The Rangers weren't necessarily doing anything different than what the typical average teenager was doing at that time. But the problem is that these things became a permanent fixture on their brand. And what a lot of labels and agencies like to do, they like to take a bit of your personality and blend it into this caricature that they create for you. The Rangers made these aspects of themselves such a permanent fixture in their brand that if we were to just undo this stuff and we made them put makeup all over their body to cover their tattoos and just leave the tasteful ones and make them remove piercings and re-dye their hair back to their normal color, and we're gonna be very cautious of the words that we use. Essentially, you would be taking away the whole entire appeal and essence of who the Rangers were. And once that goes away, who are we appealing to? Who are we reaching? No one. Because nobody wants to see whatever it is that you just created. People want to see the Rangers. People want to see them cussing. People want to see them acting a plumb fool. People want to see them jumping off of buildings and billboards and platforms and stuff. People want to see that. When you take that away, you are essentially taking away the Rangers. And the second thing I want to cover, which is why this was somewhat of an issue to the music industry, let's be real. Race is going to play a role in everything that Black people do. We can't escape it. We can't deny it. We can't do anything about it. It's just naturally going to be a part of our process every time we take a breath. Within this same time period, within this same decade, there were these emo artists that had the craziest, I mean the craziest songs, the craziest amount of platforms, and they all appealed to teenagers and young children. Nobody policed their hair color, nobody policed their piercings, nobody policed any of their languages, whether it was in a live performance or in any of their songs. They were 100% okay with their kids singing songs like S My D. And yes, that is a legitimate song. They were cool with their kids singing S My D. They were cool with their kids wanting to be trendy and put holes into their faces. And they were cool with their kids using 1,000,001 bottles of hairspray and cutting their hair every other month so they can have layers and XYZ. But they were only okay with it as long as the kids were white. Let's be honest. Because this was literally happening at the same time. One is approved, the other one isn't. One is, oh my gosh, Tommy, turn that off. And the next one is, yeah, no, we can't work with this at all. And we're just going to pretend like that has nothing to do with race, even though we clearly see it. Right. Anyways, so yeah, back to what I was saying. If you essentially take away everything that made the Rangers, there will no longer be the Rangers. Now, before we wrap up this whole entire segment, I do want to point out the New Boys were not saints, okay? Especially with some of the information we know now. If you know, you know. But again, what the New Boys did that the Rangers did not do was that when they decided, hey, I'm going to make this into a career, they locked in. And they solely made their social presence about their music, about them as artists, and that was it. Labels were able to work with their rebellious persona because their rebellious persona was orchestrated. It was contained. It was managed. So it was okay for them to release songs like FMS. It was cool for them to do it because, to a degree, we already made the New Boys likable and tasteful enough to where your parents may let you listen to it, they may not let you listen to it. But when you got the Rangers, and the Rangers act like this.
I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna do it. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. If you do it, I'll do it. Oh, I'm out of here. Oh, shit.
And you mix that in with the fact that at this time, one of their biggest hit singles was titled Tippin' on My. You know, we're not really surprised. You know what I'm saying? We're not really surprised. We're not really surprised that a few people was like, maybe not. maybe check in like a little bit later down the line, but not right now. And I also feel like to a degree, this definitely carries over into present day. And it is a large possibility that those things that I listed is probably the reason why the YouTube channel no longer exists. It's not clear as to exactly what the reason is. All I know is that it wasn't deleted by any of the members. It was deleted by YouTube as the entity. Like, YouTube is the one that deleted the channel. But the only reason why I say that it's a possibility that those types of content, especially the stroking sessions, were essentially the demise of the channel is because over the years, obviously, YouTube has changed a lot. Now, please believe me when I say, I looked up a few of these stroke sessions literally for research purposes. Swear to God. Swear to God. I did it for the research. I did it for the video. I did it for y'all, okay? But one thing that I noticed about these stroke sessions is that a lot of them are age restricted now. Back then, they were never age restricted. Today, yeah, you might as well just click out the video. And I'm pretty sure that the reason for this is obviously because of situations like ElsaGate. And for those that may not understand what ElsaGate exactly is, to summarize it, there was a situation where there was content that was seemingly created for children, targeted to children, that depicted a lot of inappropriate natures in their cartoons and even in their live action stuff. They could be things ranging from gore, they could be things ranging from, to say the least, bodily fluids being spread and played with. Yeah, disgusting. And some of them were even a little bit schmexual in nature, and these were being targeted towards kids and purposely using the likeliness of fun, recognizable cartoons to attract them to the page. And even elements of horror. Do you remember the Momo scare? Yeah, stuff like that. So at some point, YouTube cracked down on a lot, and it just got to a point to where YouTube was no longer original YouTube anymore. It was barely fun for a second, okay? So I feel like it is more than likely that that is the reason why the channel ended up getting deleted. So yeah, to say the least, the Rangers pretty much shot themselves in the foot when it came to their digital footprint on the internet. However, if they focused on just staying independent for like a little bit longer, they probably would have benefited the most. And it's not their fault because unbeknownst to them, who knew that social media was going to have the impact that it had? You know, like they were literally like, what, a year shy? Just a little bit? Like they were right there. But you know, you live and you learn, and everything happens for a reason. So another obstacle that definitely affected the success of the Rangers was definitely the management style of their management team. So during the Rangers' career, they actually had a lot of business opportunities that most people who are trying to break into the industry would kill for. For starters, the Rangers were pretty much one of the first YouTubers on the YouTube platform. And for proof, for those that don't know, back in the day, YouTube was set up as just like another social media site. And back in the day, YouTube used to have these badges that would show if you were one of the top creators on the platform. So with the Rangers being high up on these rankings, as well as making close to 1 million views for every single video that they uploaded, they obviously became a very noticeable brand and a very noticeable face. So their notoriety mixed in with the Jerkin movement becoming the monumental giant that it is, they would end up getting brand deals like Neff Clothing, Flectix, Hot Topic, Vlado Footwear, Jerk Energy Drinks, promoting the Ncredible headphones, and literally like so many other brand deals that I just cannot name because we'd be here all day. And like I said before, they even had their own DVD, which essentially was their documentary that was accompanied with their mixtape. And they also got to have heavy affiliations with people like Justin Bieber very early on in his career, Chris Brown, Soulja Boy, Roscoe Dash, Sierra, literally so many people. And at the height of the Rangers' career, they eventually got signed to Nick Cannon, and Nick Cannon decided to put them in a few movies and TV shows that he wrote. So to name a few, they had a cameo in Mac and Devin Go Back to High School, The Heart Specialist, and as I stated before, they were the main characters of the movie School Dance. And once they got the roles for School Dance, this led them to be introduced into more celebrity affiliations. Now, there were a lot of people that were in this movie, okay? I'm not naming everybody. I'm not gonna name everybody. Shout out to the people that was there, okay? I'm not gonna sit here all day and name y'all. But the few that I am willing to point out, the Rangers got to work with people like Amber Rose, Kevin Hart, Mike Epps, Lunel, and not to mention, the Rangers also had the benefit of having a personal connection to a celebrity as well. Kid Ink actually turned out to be the biological older brother of the member Julian. Let's also talk about the fact that once upon a time, the Rangers actually had one of their songs featured on the popular show Entourage. And when it came to the merch, oh honey, the Rangers always sold out. Always. To this day, I don't have a hoodie. To this day, I don't have a hat. To this day, I don't have a t-shirt. I ain't even got a tissue. I have nothing. I have nothing. Nathan. It was already bad enough that I was a kid that could never have my own money, but the few times that I had my own money, what I'm gonna spend it on? Everything gone. Everything gone. So, great. You know? So, from the looks of it, the Rangers were doing pretty good when it came to brand deals and making multiple sources of income. But, unfortunately, with all of these business opportunities, according to some of the members, it seemed like there were a lot of business issues behind the scenes. So, why is that? What exactly happened? So before we move on, I do want to say this. I feel like one of the biggest issues when we talk about people who used to be famous or people that at one point in time just seemed like they had the whole world in their hands, and then one day you look up and it's like, oh, you work at Amazon with me? Like, what's that about? What's going on? I feel like as a collective, me included, I feel that we have a very fantasized version of what fame and success actually looks like. We tend to think that people who are famous automatically live a life of luxury. We expect to see big houses, expensive cars, luxury vacations, and other materialistic things. But the reality of it is that images of luxury and success are very subjective. A lot of people tend to believe that when you're doing things like being a content creator or being in the entertainment industry or even being a business owner, that you are essentially making easy, fast money and you're getting paid like buku amounts. When in reality, you spend a majority of your career actually being dirt broke. Like majority of it, you are living a very humble life. Okay, when it comes to things like being in the entertainment industry, being a content creator, being a business owner, you are essentially investing way more than you are actually reaping the benefits. You are essentially building a rapport and a portfolio to make future customers want to be your customer. So prime example, I'm just going to use me as an example. That way people can fully understand what's going on. Because when we do start to talk about like, you know, the industry and how they cut people checks and stuff like that, it can tend to get a little bit confusing, a little bit. But let's just talk about content creation, because I feel like content creation is a little bit more understandable, and content creation is something that a lot of people have looked into. So I can give you my own personal opinion being a content creator myself. If you look down at my subscriber count, I actually don't have that many subscribers. I have enough and I love them to death. I would rather have 400 people that love me than to have 10 million people that don't even tune in. You know, love that for them. Love you dearly. But because of my subscriber count, I do not meet the requirements to get paid through YouTube. I have had this channel since 2020 and I have not been paid this whole entire time. And it's not because YouTube is janky. I just literally have not met the requirements yet. A lot of people could potentially say something about me and say like, oh, well, look how long you've had this channel. You're not popping, you don't have like 1,000 something subscribers, you don't have 10,000, 10 million, whatever, because to them it's like, okay, 3 to 4 years is enough to build a platform. And to a degree that is very true, but to a degree it's not true, because there's a lot that goes into content creation and building a platform that a lot of people are not aware of. Number one, you have to find your niche. I really didn't even find my niche until like around last year. Number two, it's not a requirement, but it definitely helps. Equipment? Oh honey, equipment definitely helps. And one thing about this equipment costs money. Again, sometimes you gotta invest in yourself more than you actually get out of it. For my day ones, you know, there was a point in time where I had no ring light. We just had to depend on when it was sunny. I now have 2 tripods, but there was a point in time where I had no tripod. My tripod was a bottle of lotion propping up my phone. And even to this day, I don't have any fancy editing equipment or anything. I have this here iPad. I have an iPad, and I record off of my phone. And my phone ain't even up to date, if we want to be real. Another investment, this microphone. You can't see it because it's low down, but this microphone, yeah, like, you know, there was a lot of things that I once upon a time didn't have that I had to build up. So for a long time, we did not look professional. We didn't sound professional, nothing. I'm now at a point where, you know, people kind of, they see the vision, they messing with it, they vibing with it. Okay, cool. But even now, I more so in the earliest years of doing this channel, I was just putting out anything that'd get traction. Half of the time, I put out stuff that I never even cared about, and those were the ones that got the highest views. And still to this day, I'm not getting paid for any of those views. They're just helping me get to a point to where I can get paid. So yeah, in a lot of cases, that is exactly what building a brand and building a team looks like. There's gonna be a long period of time where you're not seeing money, you're not making millions of dollars, you're not doing XYZ. And when you do get to a point to where you can finally eat off of what you're making, there will come a point in time where you sit back and you recognize this still ain't as much as I thought it was. So people think that when you get 1 million views, you're getting paid $1 million. And that is not what is happening, okay? You get paid a few cents per view. So you definitely making a decent amount of money compared to if you worked a regular 9 to 5. But you not making as much money as most people think. You are not making let's buy a Ferrari tomorrow type of money, okay? The people that y'all see 9 times out of 10, they got gifted those things. They're doing down payments. They're probably faking it, if we want to be honest, because so many people have been caught for renting cars and renting places, which honestly, nothing wrong with that. If you can do that, because that actually is way more money than just putting it out front, like that's not bad either. But a lot of the things that y'all see are very glamorized. A lot of them are gifts. A lot of them are just, you know, it's not what you think it is. It's not all that it's cracked up to be. And then in some cases, there are some people that were willing to do some off the chain stuff to get to where they're at. And again, going back to me, I probably could have had like a few thousand followers, 100,000 followers, if I was one of them girls where like, yeah, let's go on a smash or pass video in person. Yeah, let's do some in public interviews. Let me do a prank and pretend like I'm musty or my coochie stank. Like, yeah, I probably would have been out there by now. Probably would have been doing that. But I'm not willing to do all that. Like, I don't want to say that's selling your soul. I feel like if it's your cup of tea, it's your cup of tea. But me personally, no, I don't want that. I don't want to be known for that. I don't want to get popular off of stuff like that. That's just never been my thing. So this is pretty much the same thing when it comes to people's perceptions about people that are famous currently, or even people that used to be, you know, big and major to them. A lot of the people that you supported, trust me, your money was always valued, whether you paid $1, whether you paid 50 cents. You will always be valued as a viewer, as a fan. But you really think that your $30 helped this person buy a car? You think that, first of all, you think the $30 went directly to them. And that, I have to say, is the biggest misconception, okay? That don't automatically go to you, okay? That don't automatically go to the person that you're supporting. It goes towards a fund. It goes towards like one of the major bills that they have. Mind you, we ain't even get to taxes yet. Okay, so it's nothing to sneeze at. It's always going to be valued and appreciated. But baby, no. So I just wanted to specify that and clear that up, because I do feel like one of the biggest chunks of this particular obstacle is really the fact that a lot of people think that people are supposed to be in G-Wagons and in mansions just because once upon a time you were my world. People fail to understand that, like, just because you think highly of someone does not always mean that everybody else does. They were still very much a niche community. They were still like popular on the internet during a time where being popular on the internet didn't mean anything. So maybe possibly if they blew up in today's day and age, yeah, they probably would be worth millions and millions of dollars, because you have things like SoundCloud and, you know, every single app is monetized now. You get what I'm saying? So maybe it would have been a little bit different in today's time. But all in all, like as a whole, that is not how these industries work. There is a glamorized, idealized version that a lot of people fantasize about. But the actual process, the actual work that it takes, the actual amount of money that you're going to be paid is completely different than what the average person thinks. So I do just want to put that out there just because of that. And also, I'm not trying to, like, you know, preach to y'all, but I also feel like everybody has a different version of what they think wealth and success is. So I really don't like when people try to like stress and push for people to feed into this luxury lifestyle aesthetic, because what if that's just not their cup of tea? What if they're content with being able to buy their mama a house and retire their parents early and that's it? I don't think that they failed or flopped because of that. That's why when I do this series, I don't be doing it because I want to be nice. I mean, it doesn't hurt to be nice, but you know, I don't say things like that because I'm just trying to get on people's good side. I genuinely don't feel like any of the people that I've covered so far necessarily flopped, because what does flop actually mean? What does fell off actually mean? Because if they're in a position where they can help their family like they've never been able to, I feel like that's an accomplishment. The same way that it would be an accomplishment for someone who's been homeless majority of their life and they finally got a bed to sleep in, whether that bed is in a hotel, a motel, or whether it could be a mattress in the tent, who knows? But either way, what actually is the definition of someone else's success? It doesn't have to look like your version in order for it to be success. And I feel like that will always be the issue. I feel like that is part of the issue that I'm exploring. There are some inner workings in this system where I will say, like, it made me raise an eyebrow and ask a lot of questions, but all in all, they're not broke. They're not poor. They're not in messed up financial situations, or maybe they are and we just don't know, but you know, they're not in a bad situation. It's just that a lot of people just have that fantasized version of what they thought their future was going to be, and because they don't live up to your fantasy, that means, oh, they fell off, and that's not always the case. So I just definitely wanted to get that out the way before we go any deeper. So now let's explore the Rangers and their management team. So as I stated before, Langston, as of recently, has been taking to his YouTube and giving reactions to a lot of old content from the Rangers. While reacting to these videos, he also is providing a little bit of behind the scenes inside context that majority of the fan base did not know about. And one of the topics that he's been very vocal about since the very beginning has been the multiple issues within their system of management. So for starters, the Rangers legit had no knowledge of anything that went on as far as the business aspect of their careers. Nobody knew how much money they were getting made, let alone how the money itself was getting split up. They were just advised to continue performing and do as they were told.
You feel me? I was just out the loop business-wise. I probably only seen one contract. Just one. And when I asked to see the contract one time, you know what I'm saying, the manager was like, nah, you don't need to see the contract. Just focus on the entertainment. Y'all focus on dancing, rapping, and I got y'all. I got this.
So when it came to things like being signed to major labels, an eventual name change, and the legalities within their music, there was no group discussion, let alone any conversation with any of the members. So let's point out some of the issues that I'm talking about. I had briefly mentioned earlier that there was a point in time where the Rangers were very close with Snoop Dogg. Apparently, there was a point in time very early on in the career of the Rangers where Snoop Dogg actually wanted to sign the Rangers to his label. Now, the members of the Rangers were aware of this interest, but ultimately no plans ever fell through, and there's no actual recollection as to why. Now, eventually, they did get signed to RBC Records, but that was also a very short-lived opportunity. Now, the question is, did they get dropped from the label, or did they leave the label? Again, we don't have an answer because none of the members know. It was never told to them. They just were signed 1 minute, and then they were back independent, and that was it. And like I said, eventually, they got signed to Nick Cannon, and eventually, they stopped affiliating with him too. Why? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. The members themselves cannot answer any of these questions because these were not things that were communicated with them at any given point in time. And while we're briefly mentioning RBC Records, this also brings up another issue. So remember how I said that originally they were known as the Go-Go Power Rangers and they changed their name to the Rangers for legal purposes, right? When they first changed their name to the Rangers, they were the Rangers with a $sign where the S is supposed to be. Under this label is when they released their first mixtape along with their DVD. They also released the Takeover mixtape and eventually made like an EDM style type album, and it was called I Need a Tune-Up Volume 1. When they eventually broke ties with RBC Records, they no longer went by the Rangers with a $sign. They just went by the Rangers with a regular S. But why did they have to change their names simply because they're not dealing with RBC Records anymore? Because they were the Rangers with a $sign before they were signed to RBC. So why do they have to change their name? Again, we don't know. But what I will say, based off of, evidence, is that in some way, shape, or form, they gave over their name and a lot of their rights over to RBC Records. So not only can they not use their original stage name anymore, but all that music that they made, all those mixtapes, they're not getting paid for those when you stream them. They're not making a check off of that. During the time that I was doing my research, I seen a lot of videos where people were being, not copyright striked, but there definitely was like a copyright. It pops up in the description bar if you guys ever pay attention. So all those people that can't monetize their videos because it's using copyrighted material, that copyright is not coming from the Rangers. The money that they're making off of you using their music in your video, they're not getting paid for that. None of that money is going to them. Literally. All your favorite jams, number one dime, all that, yeah, they're not getting paid. None of them are getting paid. None. If you did decide to buy the DVD, because there's always a eBay, a Depop. I think it's on Amazon. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's available on Amazon too. Yeah, they ain't getting paid for that. So, feel free to live your nostalgia, but you're not doing it for a good cause because none of them are seeing that money. But the question is, who's getting the money? Is it RBC? Who's getting the money? Again, we don't have an answer. We don't know. They don't know. So everything is just up in the air at this point. And then considering the fact that this is a situation that happened years ago. So again, the whole entire time y'all have been supporting the Rangers, they have not been getting paid. Like, think about that. The whole entire time you've been streaming this music and playing this music and buying it on iTunes, they're not getting paid. So considering the fact that this has been an issue for as long as it's been an issue, years ago, is there anyone actively fighting for them to get their rights back? Again, we don't know. We have no clue.
And yeah, bro, I'm not collecting from this, but somebody is, and I'm trying to get to the bottom of that, but it's just a matter of getting a hold of them and going about it that way. Maybe have a sit down with them and figure out what exactly I got myself into.
And even with situations like Spotlight getting kicked out of the group and even the eventual disbandment of the group, the Rangers, none of these situations were talked about with the group. There was never a group discussion. There was never a meeting. It would just be a decision made and they were expected to just roll with it. And as I said earlier, it was not 100% clear who said what, who made the phone call, who did it. I just know that there was a phone call that was made, but Langston himself has speculated that Julian was the one that called Spotlight and said that Spotlight was kicked out of the group. And the rest of the members were just notified that Spotlight wasn't a part of the group anymore. And that was it. No discussion, no nothing.
Like I said before, I don't think Spotlight should have got kicked out because he was you know, an important asset to the group. Corey as well, you know what I'm saying? It was just, you know, different personalities within the group. But like I said, bro wanted to go solo. And I got an email saying the Rangers have ran its course. The Rangers have ran its course, like from Jerkin, which is Julian's dad. So at that point, I'm like, heart shattered.
And I feel like this also applies to the YouTube channel that got deleted. They could still be making money off of that to this day. Especially since in 2020, there was like a huge moment where people started jerking again because I guess like they just felt nostalgic or maybe, you know, they wanted to bring back a new dance craze or something like that. So they could have got money off of that as well. They probably would have been sitting on a decent check by this point. And who's fighting to get that channel back? Who's fighting for them to make sure that all of these videos are back in its original state, untouched, etc.? From the looks of it, nobody. From the looks of it, nobody's really fighting to keep that channel, to keep anything that could keep these boys paid. Now, thankfully for somebody like me who's doing this video, you know, I have my sources, so I can go and pull up these videos and these pictures and stuff, but it's kind of ridiculous that majority of this content was on their YouTube channel and they're not getting paid for their likeliness. Someone else is. That's an issue. So these are very big things that as an artist, as a content creator, you should know all of these things. You should know where your money's going. You should know how it's being spent. You should know the inner workings of how your business is going. You should never be in the dark if you are the body that is being used to make the money. Plain and simple. Now that's just the surface level of issues. I also want to go into the inner workings of the management camp itself. Going back to the departure of CeeJay, Frank, and Spank. According to them, there was material in those contracts that they just did not agree with, and that's the reason why they left and created Jink ENT. This is something that definitely made my eyebrow raise a little bit, because there came a point in time where Langston himself revealed that through his whole entire career, he has signed one contract. A singular contract. So if I know what I'm talking about, because again, I wasn't there, I don't know. If my math is correct, this contract is the same contract that is being referred to by CeeJay, Frank, and Spank.
Julian brought contracts. I'm like, oh, Julian got contracts. I guess Julian's mom talked to my moms. You feel me? Yeah, I just trusted niggas from there, you feel me? Like, there was something that CeeJay and Frank, them niggas did not rock with, I guess. I don't know. I don't know if it was something in the contract that they wasn't fucking with or what. But them niggas said, nah. And, you know, me and DayDay was like, you know, I'm with it. Corey was like, I'm with it. Spotlight, with it. But all I know is that there was contracts back in this day. Contracts that they wrote up, excuse me.
This was in 2009. So that's just first of all, because a usual contract is going to renew at least annually, at least, right? That's just number one. Number two, the contract itself, what was in it to where it was still valid after the name change? Again, if you don't know too much about like how businesses work, how LLCs work and stuff like that, then you probably think that I'm just specifying the money sign and the S sign, the differences between the two, trying to be petty. But no, that's actually very important. It's very important in a situation like this, because if you agreed to the entity that is the Rangers with a $sign, once it became the Rangers with a S, that contract is invalid. That contract is not legally binding. That is not a relevant contract anymore. And that also has me thinking back to Corey and Spotlight's departure, because with a contract, if you are released from your contract, you get paid a certain amount of money. You have discussions to where the money is either negotiated, agreed upon, or whatever, or you just straight up get the money and you leave. I really highly doubt it, just based off of what I know now, but were Spotlight and Corey ever paid after they left? And specifically when it pertains to Spotlight, Spotlight's vocals were still being used. There was certain promotional material, merchandise, even music videos that still physically had him in it or had his face on it, had his vocals on it. Did he stop getting paid once he left the group? Because legally, you can't do that. Legally, you cannot do that. And if you have a contract that clearly states that you are a part of this entity and you have the rights to X, Y, and Z, you're supposed to be getting paid, regardless of the fact that you're no longer with these people anymore. While they went on with their careers and Spotlight was doing him, every time that song got played, Spotlight is supposed to get paid. But then going back to the issue with RBC, none of them are getting paid. So they wouldn't even be responsible for paying Spotlight in the first place, because they don't have a way to pay him, because they don't even have any money for them. So the whole thing is just messed up and complicated. So again, what was in that contract? What really was the validity of the contract? Was the contract under the LLC that they were under, or was the contract for them as a group? Because none of this is making sense to me. None of it.
Don't get in this business if you ain't really have a lawyer read your contracts and, you know, get your fair share, because nigga, we was damn near millionaires right here, you know, millionaires off of this shoe. You feel what I'm saying? I'm done talking about it, but yeah, bro, I just had to say my little piece about Gelato. And, you know, the business side is a crucial game. No cap. So yeah, they gave us pennies, and we had to split that between 4 people and 3 people. After all this exposure we gave them and put a whole movement behind it, a whole dance behind the shoe, a whole swag, LA swag behind the shoe. Everybody knows about Gelatos. When you think of Gelatos, you think of Jerkin. When you think of Jerkin, who do you think of? We did this shit. It is what it is.
Now, this is the part of the video where I am almost positive that I am probably going to ruffle some feathers, okay? So I want to reiterate. This is a video for entertainment/educational purposes. I state things how they are according to certain sources, and I state them for the sake of accuracy and not for the sake of being messy, okay? I myself am not making any allegations, insinuating anything, or trying to push a narrative or push anyone to believe X, Y, and Z. This is me just reporting facts, okay? That's it. So the reason why I say this is because I feel like one of the issues within the development of management is the fact that management was actually Julian's mother and father. So fun fact, Julian's mom, Tammy, used to be in a girl group in the 90s called POV with her sister. And from the looks of it, they didn't get very far in the music industry. I haven't been able to pull up any old songs or anything like that, but it's clear that they got far enough to where Tammy has an understanding of how certain things in the music industry operate. She noticed very early on in life that a lot of her children were starting to take an interest in a lot of creative performing arts. So in 2003, she created a stock corporation called Chance Talent so that she could help produce her children's talents a little bit more. And while all of this was happening, Julian was already experimenting with music, editing videos, and even video production itself. And he would then go on to create the Jerkin team, the Go-Go Power Rangers, and eventually created the YouTube channel as well as the MySpace, and the rest was history. So once it was clear to the members at the time that they wanted to take their career seriously and make themselves a brand, especially the fact that it was clear that they were making a name for themselves very early on, Tammy would then go through a rebrand and launch Chance Talent Management LLC. And within this business, it included Julian's father, JeRay, who also became the managing director of the group. Even though Julian was the first child within the household to step into the music industry, his older brother Kid Ink would follow shortly after him and practically blow up overnight. And with his newfound fame and money, he used those resources to also help out the Rangers.
Having snacks at all times.
Look, call Brian.
You already know.
Call Brian. No, nigga, my phone's dead.
Exactly. When we got our camera stolen, that's when we really stopped like putting up videos like
back to back.
Yeah, like that's what really slowed us down a little bit.
Hey, Brian can buy us one now.
All right, Kid ain't gonna buy us a new camera.
Kid ain't gonna buy us a new camera and some more shit, okay?
So why am I pointing this out? I'm pointing this out because it's very clear that out of all the members in the group, Julian definitely has the upper hand in a lot of situations. Because essentially, the management team is his family. His blood-related family. Him and his family were essentially the ones that had majority of the control over the brand, including the social media pages. Because again, Julian is the one that essentially created the Go-Go Power Rangers, he was the one that created the YouTube channel, and he was the one that created the MySpace page. Julian also edited majority of the videos that we've seen. Early on in their music careers, not only was he writing majority of the material, but he also was producing. And as stated by multiple members of the group, if it wasn't for Julian's idea to pursue music, the Rangers would have never actually tried their hand in music. If it wasn't for Julian coming up to the school with a camera and posting it on YouTube, we would not know who the Rangers are. And from what we know now, which I can't lie, I love a good butterfly effect. I'm sorry, I do. But now that we know what we know, if Julian would have never even took the initiative to dance to You're a Jerk, we probably wouldn't have even had a jerking era. The movement probably would have never took off globally. So just imagine the 2010s with no flannels, no skinny jeans, no snapbacks, nothing. It's kind of scary when you think about it. Julian's kind of powerful. But back to the point. I'm not saying that there was any purposeful malicious intent by Julian, by his mom, his dad, whatever. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that I feel like to a degree, maybe this was like, what am I trying to say? I don't want to say like a conflict of interest, but maybe this was kind of an issue or more so of a hurdle that held the group back to a degree. The Rangers always gave off a vibe of being very close to each other. As the group lost members, the tighter the bond became between the ones who were left. This went from a friendship to practically becoming brothers. However, regardless how close the bond was, they had a job to do and a career to think about. After seeing the results of how previous members were treated after their departure, who's to say that this didn't cause DayDay and Langston to walk on eggshells to appease not only management, but to Julian as well, in fear of getting kicked out of the group and losing everything. And not just the fame or materialistic things, but also someone they've come to love as a brother. Now, personally, I am not a fan of momagers and dadagers simply because they're never on a good spectrum. You either get the parents that are willing to sell their kids just for their kids to be famous, or you get the parents that are too invested as parents to where they want to shelter their kid from the world, and now they have to miss out on like big opportunities that can actually make them money and get them paid and actually make them into a megastar. You rarely ever find a parent that's just really nice in the middle with it that can do both and do both very fluidly. But again, that's just my personal opinion. That's not really relevant. But I say this because from what I've seen, Tammy is a nurturer type. I noticed that she treated all of the boys as if they were her own children.
Niggas is tripping over here, dog. Here comes my mama.
Look at what you're doing. This is how you act at your house?
I was doing anything.
Is this how you act at your house? Is this how you act at your house?
Getting in trouble.
Your mama on her way? Your mama on her way. She said you need to come home and wash clothes, clean your room.
Ooh.
Watch me go there and not do any of that.
Especially if you think that you're going somewhere on Saturday.
Ooh.
I'm going to be at home.
Ooh.
You're going to, what do you think, you're not going Saturday?
Hey, let's do it now.
Almost. I'm not calling an ambulance. Stop it. Don't, Julian. Stop it. Stop it. Spotlight, no.
Alright, I'm about to land it.
You can't do this. Oh! Not on the hardwood floor. Please stop.
What if I break my neck?
Then you're dead. Please stop.
You said if I break my neck, I'm dead?
Please stop. Or you're going to be Superman.
What if I break my arm? Am I dead when I break my arm?
Stop!
It looks like this.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, so I'm going to send it to your parents, but Thursday at 12 we got to go to ASCAP.
What about
all
school?
you guys need to register. Forgot about school.
Yeah, you definitely did. Guess we're not going.
Yeah, you are. I'm calling back. That don't match, do it?
I don't give a fuck. Shout out to my...
Hey!
What, nigga? Shout out, nigga. You better calm down. Let me shout out to my motherfucking big homie, Killer 23 Baby Crib.
Shout out.
That's funny. That's not
Really,
funny.
it's not. But, hey.
Stay fucked up, nigga. Beat the fucking chips up.
Her house was often referred to as the Ranger's house, and you often seen a lot of the boys over her house when they did decide to go live. But it wasn't just because they handled business over there, it was also because her house was essentially a safe space for them. And she definitely made sure of that. She definitely made sure that they knew that they had a place to come to.
Lay down. Lay down. Tabby, where are you going?
Yes.
Where are you going, Tabby? Tabby.
I have a question.
Can you bring back some cereal?
Man.
Bring back some.
And with me being able to sit back and observe that, I feel like she definitely was coming from a place of trying to protect the boys as much as possible, because a lot of these entertainment industries are very predatory, especially when it comes towards young people, especially when it comes towards people of color. Now, because it is public information and, you know, this is just life, it's just real life, we do have the freedom to criticize and critique based off of what we understand or what we've seen. Maybe certain business dealings could have been handled a whole lot better, but honestly, we don't know that unless we see these contracts. And honestly, in true black mom fashion, I think that she genuinely was trying to keep everyone's best interest at heart. She wanted them to feel like children for as long as they possibly could. She wanted them to enjoy their career. She wanted them to have fun while they were doing it. I think she genuinely just didn't want them to be stressed out with all of the things that come with that industry and all the business dealings.
The manager, Julian's mother, was handling the business side, you know what I'm saying? And Snoop wanted to sign us, Nick Cannon wanted control. You know, I'm pretty sure we could have got a more, you know, better manager, like that's really gonna take it to the next level. Like, let Julian's mom be a mom. You know, Julian had a baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, let her deal with that while we take this shit to the next level. You feel me? But she wanted control of everything. She wanted control of us, you know, which is the reason why we didn't sign to Snoop. You know, she just wanted control. Like, she wanted to control Kid Ink too, like, as a mother, you know what I'm saying? You know how mothers get, momagers. Kid Ink was like, nah, I got a manager. You feel me? And I feel like at some point within the group, like, we should have at least tried to, like, go with a different manager and see where it could have took us. Like, very, very controlling, you know. Like, nobody can manage my boys. These are my boys. No. Like, we should have went with another manager and took it to the next level.
But while protecting them, she also held them back. There are certain experiences that people need so that they can grow in order for them to be better people and be better equipped at life. And essentially, whether it was intentional or not, she took that opportunity away. And I also feel like it needs to be understood too that, again, the time period, the climate at this time. Nowadays, you can watch a YouTube video of how to start a business. You can listen to your favorite rapper go on Instagram Live and tell you, okay, this is how you gonna upload on SoundCloud and get paid. But back then, there weren't that many resources. You either knew it or went to school for it. So I think that for it to be that time period and for her to know the little bit of knowledge that she knew, I don't think any of those business dealings were ever malicious. I think she just did the best that she could with the information that she was equipped with. Another thing I want to touch on is the status of the LLC and stock corporation started by Julian's mom. The stock corporation, which was the earlier business she ran, was terminated. The LLC that the Rangers were under is suspended. So what does this mean? Essentially, this means that the business in question cannot legally be active due to lack of payments. These payments could be taxes or fees due to the state, interest rates, or penalties that resulted in fines. When these things are unpaid over a certain amount of time, that causes the business to be suspended or forfeited, which means that the state closed the business themselves. So I feel as though if there was any malicious intent behind the scenes of poor handling of management, then the LLC would have been properly dissolved as opposed to being suspended. And what does it mean for a business to be dissolved? So in simplest terms, that just means that the business is closed down by the people who own it. So it can be argued that the business as a whole was struggling financially and they were doing their best to give payouts to the members. But all in all, we're not 100% aware of anything pertaining to the finances to confirm or deny this theory. I also want to add that Jerkin, who was also a part of the management team, had a lot of experience in business management as well as being in management positions for big companies. For someone of his background, I highly doubt that he would overlook things that pertain to the finances within the group. But again, we weren't there and we don't know these people personally, so we can only speculate. And also, it's time consuming. Like, running a business is very time consuming. Running a business while raising your kids and low-key raising somebody else's kids. Because again, the Rangers were bad as hell. They act like regular teenage boys, but they was bad as hell. That genuinely is a lot to deal with. Like, that's a lot to juggle at once. So she probably then got overwhelmed herself and was just like, promote this t-shirt. Get out my face. Please. But on the other hand, though, I will say that we are very capable of exploring both options, both possibilities. It is a possibility that maybe the management team was a little bit biased towards Julian and Julian's well-being. And this is something that could be intentional or unintentional. You know what I'm saying? From what I've come to understand, that is essentially how they used to navigate the group. If Julian wanted something to go a certain way, it pretty much just went that way. If Julian was uncomfortable with something, then we just won't do it. It was almost like Julian was the representative of the group, and the group just, for some reason, wasn't allowed to speak for themselves.
Yeah, this is Orange County, Lake Forest. I actually lived over here too. You know, niggas was like, look, we moving to Orange County. I'm like, okay, bet we gotta move to make sure the group stay together.
Did y'all always have music in mind behind it, like that y'all wanted to be artists, or y'all just was having fun?
Honestly, this how it all started in my eyes. It was a group of kids just dancing, and then the homie Julian had the camera. So those two connected, and then people just started like us. I don't know, bro. Like the fans just came to us, and the music and the traveling and all that, I had none of that in mind. It just came out of nowhere. It just happened to be.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Don't limit your blessings, because I didn't even want to rap. I didn't want to be a part of this music shit. I just wanted to dance, you feel me? And I said that. And, you know, Julian's mom was like, nah, you gonna rap. I don't care what you talking about, you finna rap. Julian was like, nah, nigga, rap. So, yeah, man.
You've been working with Nick Cannon. How's that been working?
Honestly, Nick has been a good teacher, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He for sure has helped us out with the movie process because that was a new experience. And yeah, he's a cool guy, honestly.
Yeah, he real cool, you know, he taught us a lot, but we not even with Ncredible no more. You know, we just decided to take our music a different direction independently, but you know, we still cool. It's no bad blood between us and Nick, you know. We still gonna do movies with him, television, all that. But the music, you know, we gonna handle that independently.
Don't know why we left Nick. I had nothing to do with leaving Nick. So yeah. Shout out to Nick, man. Definitely will do a school dance too.
So going back again to the Spotlight situation, if it was Julian that made that decision that, okay, Spotlight just isn't going to be here anymore, that's unfair. Because at the end of the day, it should have been a group discussion. Everyone should have had a say-so. Everyone should have voiced their opinions. And honestly, at the end of the day, it wasn't even a business-savvy thing to do. It was not the smartest thing to do business-wise. I feel like if you genuinely wanted him out the group, okay, this will be your last day on such and such a time after we promote this mixtape and do a few tours or whatever. But just out the blue like that was not a smart idea, I have to say. Business-wise, that was not a smart idea. And even with the eventual split of the group, it was said by Langston that they just got an email saying that the group was over with. There also was no discussion about that. It was just, Julian wants to go solo now. Bye.
What happened to the Rangers? One of the members wanted to go solo. And the manager was very supportive of that.
Like I said, bro wanted to go solo. And I got an email saying the Rangers have ran its course. The Rangers have ran its course, like from Jerkin, which is Julian's dad. So at that point, I'm like, heart shattered for me. We just shot a movie. We was just signed to Nick. Everything just started, you know, transitioning. The honest truth, niggas got left hanging, bro. Like after this movie came out, you feel what I'm saying? Me and DayDay. But why would you break up a group after the movie? Like after a movie like this with A-list actors in it? That would never make sense to me, and it'll never make sense to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'll never be over that. I'll never, like, you know, forget that. Now I'm over it, but I'll never forget that. Like, niggas wanted to go solo and in the group after this movie came out. Don't really make sense to me, man.
Through an email. Like, wait a minute. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't think the Rangers really would have been the same. I think they should have just called it quits once Julian decided indefinitely that he wanted to go solo. But again, business-wise, who said that Langston and DayDay couldn't continue being the Rangers and Julian can just go off and be Julian? Who said that? Again, there should have been a discussion because of that. Because according to Langston never wanted to let the Rangers go. Langston loved being a Ranger. That was his bread and butter. He loved it. So hell, Langston would have been his own Ranger and just been like, all right, auditions for 4 different niggas. Come on. Fuck it. And it wouldn't have been the same. I can't perp to you. It wouldn't have been the same. So in a way, yeah, once Julian left, maybe it was time to just completely break up the group, you know? But still, business-wise, like I'm using my little business management brain, okay? That also was not fair, let alone was it smart. So let's wrap this segment up. Why was this such a big issue for the Rangers' career? I feel like I've said this in some of my previous installments of the What Happened To series, but management is everything. Management can literally make or break the artist or the talent in question. Now, like I said, I feel like people have very fantastical versions of what they think content creators and entertainment industry people are supposed to make. So me personally, I didn't expect for the Rangers to be multi-millionaires. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did not expect them to be worth millions and millions and millions of dollars. I didn't. But I will say that if you really like sit down, crunch the numbers, do the math, if you know a thing or two about the legal process and contracts and stuff like that, I'm not gonna lie. It's a lot of things that don't add up. It's a lot of things that don't make sense. They really did put in a lot of work ever since they were children. And they should be able to eat off of that work to this day. Even if it is, okay, we only made $2 within a week. If I made $8 for the month, I want my $8. Okay? Like, we should be able to do that. But the more details that get shared, it's just very evident that they're not making enough money that reflects the work that they have completed.
We was never rich. We never had it like that. We was famous. We was getting paid to do what we love to do. But we had to split that between 3-4 niggas. You feel me?
So it's a win-win.
Shout out to Millions.
I wonder what that Millions and Milkshake shit was even about.
Shout out to Neff and Volato. Shout out to
Like, did we get paid for that? To do that? Or was we just doing shit? I don't know. I got no clue, man.
Shout out to Volato for recognizing talent and, you know, as kids, you know, as, you know, young niggas from the hood, right? Shoe wants to, you know, help us create our own shoe, put us on t-shirts, and it all sounds good, you feel me? It all sounds gravy. You feel me? Shout out to Volato, you know, for recognizing real talent and realizing that we had a whole movement, a whole fan base behind us, right? They capitalized off of Jerkin, got put in the finish line, got put at the magic show, got put in just, you know, real important places, you feel what I'm saying, because of this type shit, right? You feel me? It was 5 of us in the group, then it was 4 of us, and then there was 3. By the time it was 3, we was done with a lot of, for sure. Because, you know, we did all this look at this shit. We got people, we dancing with our socks on, sliding all over the place, all over the magic show. Nobody did this type of promo. Like, nobody was doing this type of promo. Like, we got the whole hood outside in Vegas for this. For Volato. You know what I'm saying? We all got our Volatos on. We all supporting this shit, saying this is what you can do in Volatos. If you wear these Volatos, you can do this too. It's the Jerkin shoe. It's a dancing shoe. And, you know, this is, it gives you superpowers, however people look at it. You feel me? But we had so many people buy Volatos. That's all people talk about. Oh, I gotta get my Volatos. And start jerking. They bringing Jerkin back. I gotta get my Volatos and my flannel. Like, it's clothes. It's a lot that comes with it. So the fact that Volato didn't show us more love on the business side is kind of sad for me. Keep it a buck. We could have been millionaires off of Volato for real. We the ones who put that shit on the map for real. After the Rangers put on Volatos, nigga, out of here. All over YouTube, every kid wants Volatos. There's a whole movement wearing Volatos now. Now they coming out with t-shirts, with Spotlight on the fucking shirt. I wonder if Spotlight got a percentage of that, of him being on the shirt. So yeah, they gave us pennies. And we had to split that between 4 people and 3 people. After all this exposure we gave them and put a whole movement behind it, a whole dance behind the shoe, a whole swag, LA swag behind the shoe. Everybody knows about Volatos. When you think of Volatos, you think of Jerkin. When you think of Jerkin, who do you think of? We did this shit. It is what it is.
Especially the music part really pisses me off. The fact that the content is accessible and they're not seeing a dime of that. Yeah, you know, that would definitely have me feeling some type of way. I can't even perp about that. And then when it comes to the eventual breakup, I also don't like how the breakup was handled either, because a lot of people watching this video, you've probably commented it already by this point. But a lot of people that are probably watching this video, you clicked on this video because you were one of the fans that genuinely wanted to know what happened to the Rangers because they fell off the face of the earth. Because, plot twist, y'all, the fans didn't know that they broke up either. They didn't know. There was never an official statement. There was no nothing. Even when I was doing research, apparently they done sold the Twitter page to somebody. That ain't even a Twitter no more. Okay? Somebody else took it over. And the fans were just expected to see the signs and just move on with life. And that was it. But it was never, oh, are they broken up? Okay, is this the end of the Rangers? XYZ. It was no discussion about it. It was just, yeah, listen to my solo music. That's it. That's it. That's it. And even within their personal dynamics, you can clearly see that the way that management handled certain situations, it definitely had an effect on how they interacted with each other. You quite literally never caught any of the Rangers interacting with any of the members of Jink. Quite literally, never, never, ever. Even after the beef was squashed, because eventually Jink disbanded. They disbanded way, 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 way earlier than the Rangers. And even then, you never seen them really kick it with CeeJay. You never really seen them kick it with Frank and Spank and them. You never really seen them kick it with nobody else. And when Spotlight and Corey left, literally, they just pretty much evaporated. They just were non-existent at that point. Now, understand, to my knowledge, it's no beef with anybody. Like, apparently all of them are still cool with each other. They just don't kick it like they used to or talk like they used to. But during the career path of the Rangers, it was very clear that once someone is gone, you pay them dust. You don't talk to them. You don't do anything with them. It's just a restriction, apparently. So eventually, once the group had broken up, you could definitely tell that there was a little bit of animosity. You could definitely tell that there was a little bit of anger because, again, there was no discussion. There was no announcement. There was no nothing. It was just, yeah, I'm gone. And you just got to accept it.
So, you know, that was 10 years ago. I was 15, 16. And we have this big impact that we left on, you know, the LA culture, LA culture. I mean, we could have took it further, but, you know, shit, fuck it. All the events, all the shows, all the fans that supported us, you feel me? We just had a lot of things going, and I believed in it. I didn't see it not working. That's just what it is. You feel me? You gotta build your own brand, find new people to work with. But you know what I'm saying? It was tough. On top of that, you can't let that, you know, that fuck up your loyalty towards other people.
That relationship is not as close as it was before because, like I said, the manager told us to leave Ncredible. And, you know, if I would have known they was going to drop us off, you know, and leave me and DayDay hanging, and, you know, Julian go solo with the rapping and not even care about this movie, I would have just stayed with Nick Cannon. You feel what I'm saying? But, you know, I was young. I was not really informed about what was really going on. You know what I'm saying? This is my first time on the screen, and it's, you feel me? I wasn't thinking like that. Yeah, bro, this was the last day in Australia where we got a suite. We got suites. We just cashed out on the suites. I don't know. And that's the thing. Like, I don't know where this money came from for real. Like, I don't know whose money they're using. I don't know how we even in the suite though. I don't know how we in the suite for real. For me, I don't know what money was used to travel. I don't know if that came out of Julian's pocket. I don't know if that came out of all of our pockets. I don't like talking about money on social media, but I'm just letting y'all know I was not there. Like, I wasn't thinking about all that shit. I'm like, nigga, I'm on the top floor in Australia, and that money is coming in. I'm gonna get paid for this. That's all I'm thinking about, but I'm not thinking about, like, okay, how we get here? Is this deducted out of my pay? Are they just using me and DayDay shit? And saving Julian shit? And kidding shit? Or are they, is this pocket out of everybody? Is this out of everybody's pocket? Like, I didn't know. I asked questions.
All I know is that niggas was just going with the motion. For me, niggas was just, you know.
Like I feel like until questions are answered about that and that is addressed, there's always going to be that weird feeling. There's always going to be that weird space between all of the members, like previous, current, whatever. And I can't even perp. I cannot even perp, y'all. I was nervous even making this video because I'm like, I might open up a can of worms. I just might say something that's going to trigger this person to talk to this person, and there's gonna be chaos, you know. And again, I don't make these videos to be messy. I make these videos for, you know, just fun and entertainment, you know. Like, listen, it ain't my business at the end of the day. You feel me? I don't know any of these people personally. I don't know. So if they fall out, they fall out. If it was technically my fault, my bad, but that ain't got nothing to do with me. Keep me out y'all drama. I ain't got nothing to do with it. But yeah, like, I was even nervous making this video because the more I looked into things, I'm like, I don't think they like each other. I don't know what's gonna happen once I upload this. Oh my god. But according to a lot of the members, a lot of them are actually very cordial with each other, very cool with each other. So, you know, I could just be anxious for no reason. But yeah, just putting that out there. If they fight, it ain't got nothing to do with me. I didn't do it. My bad. Or maybe I did. I don't know. But yeah, as a whole, I feel like because we don't know the situation, we don't know these people personally, and the situation doesn't really openly get talked about besides, like, you know, Langston, we really don't know if there was any like malicious intent. We don't know if there was like possibly a mistake. We don't really know exactly what was going on with the inner workings of anything. And like I said, we have a lot of unanswered questions about the deal with RBC and the YouTube channel and the rights to the music and XYZ, you know. So maybe one day in the future we'll get those answers, but as of right now we don't have them, and it's because management didn't manage that, you know. I feel like there definitely was an attempt. I feel like management definitely tried their best, but management could have been better, plain and simple. So the last thing that I feel like was a huge obstacle for the Rangers, I feel like the nail in the coffin was definitely being signed to Nick Cannon. So for those of you that don't know, Nick Cannon was a rapper in the early 90s and eventually became the host of Teen Nick on Nickelodeon. In 2009, he became the chairman and creative consultant / developer of the independent channel Teen Nick. Even though Nickelodeon was one of the big three for child network on cable television, Disney was the big powerhouse, especially for tweens and teenagers. Disney had their own commercials, music, radio station, original movies, animation, live action, merchandise for various characters and shows, and had plenty of artists signed on their labels. And eventually, Nick Cannon took that as an opportunity to try it out. He created his record label / television and film company, Ncredible Entertainment, in September 2009. He would go on to discover popular talents that we know today, like Kalani and Her. He would also begin to manage and sign people like Corey Guns, eventually the New Boys, Amber Rose, Aaron Fresh, and eventually even started his own girl group called the Schoolgirls. He would go on to release original movies and TV shows like Teen Nick Top 10, Incredible Crew, the Schoolgirls franchise including the holiday special, and eventually gained ownership of the show Wildin' Out. The talents that he would sign would be exclusively featured on places like Teen Nick and other avenues that he had ownership of. And this formula would prove to be very lucrative for Nick Cannon, and he was just getting started. Eventually, the Rangers would catch his eye, and he decided to sign them to his label. And this move would be a major step in the Rangers' career. They had better resources to record their music. They were now able to develop their stage presence. They were able to reach larger platforms now that they were signed to Nick Cannon. And as previously stated, Nick Cannon also helped them dip their toes into acting. Two of those movies being Mac and Dev Go Back to High School and School Dance. School Dance was the biggest move in the Rangers' career. This movie was made to give a similar feel to the popular 90s movies Friday, as well as being appealing to the teens of the 2010s. Not only did Nick Cannon make the Rangers the main characters of the movie, but he also featured their original music in the soundtrack as well. And this obviously helped a lot of their music start to take off because now they were reaching a wider, bigger audience. And as stated before, this also opened the door for them to meet even more celebrities. So some of them that I haven't mentioned, Cat Williams, Lil Duval, George Lopez, Tiffany Haddish, Avion Crockett, Christina DeBarge, and the other main character, Bobby J. Thompson. From the looks of it, this was a huge come up for the Rangers. But unfortunately, things did not pan out as expected. So what's the problem now? Because everything sounds like it's going good. So what's the issue? For starters, Ncredible as an entertainment, music label, whatever, it was very unconventional. From what I understand, Nick Cannon does not have any valid contracts with any of the artists that he signed. Any of them. His contract is a handshake. And I'm being so serious. I'm about to show y'all a few clips so y'all don't think that I'm making this up.
So she was signed to you at this point?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing too. Even people I work with, I don't do paperwork until it's necessary. And that means I don't do paperwork until I got the corporations, the big systems wanting to do something. Because otherwise, and even with Kehlani, I never wanted anything from her, so I never signed her to the type of paperwork of like, I never signed her to paperwork. I said, I just want to see you win. I don't want none of your money. I don't want nothing from you. But when Atlantic and all of them, and they came calling, I was like, yeah, I need paperwork with y'all. Like, I'll do, you and I can do some paperwork, but I don't want nothing from Kehlani. I don't want anything to.
So she's not signed to you?
That's what it is. Like, I made my arrangement with Atlantic. So I don't touch none of her money. And I said I made that from I don't want nothing from her. I don't want no show money. I don't want no 360. Because first of all, I don't believe in those 360 deals and all that stuff.
But the labels all do.
Yeah, but I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to be a part of it.
She probably has a 360 deal.
Yeah,
right?
like whatever her connection is with Atlantic and whatever, I stayed out of that. I said, I was like, give me I want all the money I put in, and I still don't think I got all my money back yet, but I know it's coming. But I just want to be paid back for the time and effort that I put in, and other than that, you know, and whatever the deal is based off of after everyone else eats and it feels equal. Like, I'm an equal dude, man. I don't want nothing more than I deserve.
But do you like you let them out of their deals? Did the deals run their course?
I'm not even one of them dudes. I'm like everybody else around me wants me to be one of those dudes. Like, take the credit, sign them, and put your logo on it. I'm like, look, give me the credit when you want to give me the credit. Right. Like, other than that, it's cool. Like, I'm a handshake type of person. I don't want nothing from you except to see you win. So that's a rare thing in this game. But it's like, I always tell artists that I rock with, look, I'm gonna be rich whether you make it or not. So I don't need, like, those ideas is like, I don't need anything from you. Like, I'm
I just
cool.
want to help you out.
So all I want to let me help you. I'll give you advice and see how you run. But, you know, obviously a lot of people think that, you know, I should be taking percentages and doing all of that. So usually I only ask back for the money that I put in if you're stable enough to do that. But I don't even ask. I mean, you know, these major labels still owe me checks for, you know, the artists that I kindly just gave them. So, but I did that because I wanted to see those artists win and didn't want them to get into a deal in debt. So I can always step away. But, you know, those big record execs, you know who you owe.
How y'all meet Nick, man?
Yukon, the homie Yukon, introduced us to him, and he liked us, and he just wanted to see what he was gonna do. We didn't sign no contract. You feel me? We just straight real with it. You feel me? Real brothers, real niggas.
Just straight up high five, like, this is what we gonna do.
Yeah,
this is what you gonna do, and you better do it, or some shit gonna get done.
Exactly.
Now listen. Before you say anything, I will say that I've done my research, and I personally have not found anyone to badmouth Nick Cannon, badmouth Ncredible as a record label. I really have heard no complaints. None whatsoever. But all I will say is this, going back to management, okay? If the deal with RBC was already wonky, a little iffy, a little questionable, to the point where we don't have rights to the name that we created, let alone the music, why are we going towards a record label that doesn't have anything in writing, and all we got to do is take turns shaking this man's hand. And again, unfortunately, the Rangers never knew just exactly how they were getting paid, where their money was going. Like, they didn't know a lot about the business aspect as a whole. But I also feel like at this phase of the Rangers' lives, they had a lot going for themselves. They had a lot of things that they could have risked over a handshake. Nothing in writing, no contract, no nothing, just over a handshake. But then not only that, when you think about all the work that they were doing with Nick Cannon, or more so for Nick Cannon, because there was a point in time where Nick Cannon even had his own individual projects going on. Like, he made headphones that were supposed to be in competition with Beats by Dre. The movies that they made cameos in, exactly how much were they getting paid? Like, because again, nothing was discussed with them. So was Nick taking the initiative to have these discussions with them separate from management, so that they understood, like, hey, I'm gonna pay you to promote my headphones, I'm gonna pay you to be in this movie real quick? Like, what exactly was the discussion, the handshake, the whatever? Like, a lot of it is just already confusing based off of the fact that we already have a foundation of not educating our people, but then none of this is in writing. So legit, any of this could be hearsay. It's just not a smart idea. Like, I'm sorry, it just wasn't a very smart idea. Now again, I haven't heard anybody complain. I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about Nick Cannon thus far, but it just wasn't smart. Like, it just wasn't smart. And it has me thinking, like, okay, so what was the deal that Snoop Dogg presented that wasn't good enough, that a handshake is better than what Snoop Dogg was offering? Again, I have more questions than I have answers now. The other issue that I have with them being signed to this label as well is because another thing that made this record label unconventional was that there was never any demand for how many projects you have to put out, what you have to do, etc., etc. So the way that it was set up, Nick Cannon basically just gave you the resources, whatever studio time you want, whatever practice space you want, how long you need it for. Oh, okay, here you go. Just do what you got to do. There was really no criteria to meet. There was no deadline for anything, really. You were just expected to do what you promised to do, or whatever it was that you wanted to do initially, and that was it. To a degree, this is very ideal for the typical average artist, because at least you know you're not getting finessed, because you are essentially the one that's responsible for your own career. But again, the communication aspect. Were the Rangers aware that this was what was going on? Or were the Rangers kind of having it in their head that Nick Cannon is going to tell us where to go, what to do, when to do it, etc., etc.? Or was this discussion only taken up with management? And that also, to me, is somewhat of a bad decision as well, because if you're telling me, like, I'm going to give you all this money, all these resources, all of this, all of that, but I really don't give a shit what you do with it, we already don't know what they did with the initial money. We already don't know what they're doing with the record deals and the contracts and the music, and, you know, like, it's just basically the biggest overarching issue that I have with them being signed to Nick Cannon is that I feel like, as far as the business aspect goes, as far as the management aspect goes, it made the situation worse. And it's not of any fault of Nick Cannon himself, but it's like it just added another layer of confusion that the Rangers did not need. I don't think that the Rangers should have been signed to Nick Cannon if these things were already a huge issue for them. And the other issue that I have is that even though at this time, at this little tiny block of time, Nick Cannon and the Ncredible brand was doing really good, this high would not last very long. So here is the issue with the Ncredible brand, basically. The record label itself, Ncredible Entertainment, it was not really a record label. It was a record label / talent agency for actors / dance studio for dancers / agency for potential influencers / agency for models, and probably a whole bunch of other things. There is nothing wrong with having a business that specializes in just entertainment and media in general. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But in a way, it's like there was really no differentiation between any of them. Because I'm pretty sure when I mentioned Amber Rose, people were like, Amber Rose? When did she make music? And that's the thing, she never did. She never did. She was on the label because she did modeling and she was an influencer. So she was being managed but also signed to the label. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So to a degree, I have to retract my statement because she actually did release music back in like 2012 with Wiz Khalifa. And as of recently in like 2022, she started making her own music. But yeah, at the time, she was not an artist. She was not making any form of music. So it still doesn't add up. But I just wanted to clear that up. And the problem with this is that, number one, mind you, this business by the time that the Rangers had came in was probably like 3 years old. So it's like the business is still fairly new. The brand itself is still very much in its infancy. Like there really wasn't much development. You get what I'm saying? And you're trying to get as many people from as many different avenues as humanly possible. But it's a reason why modeling agencies and management agencies for influencers and management agencies for musicians are not in the same building doing the same thing, representing the same people. It's not necessarily because it's impossible to do, but it's because different people that have different professions require different resources, and they require a different amount of money and accessibility. But the thing that Nick Cannon was doing, he essentially, like I said before, low-key was trying to be in competition with Disney Channel. He wanted everything that Disney Channel had. He wanted everything that the Disney brand had. And anybody that has been obsessed with Disney or used to stay on Disney Channel, you know, like there were a lot of times where they would force certain actors and actresses that could not sing to start singing on songs and stuff. There were like many Disney tours where sometimes they could sing, sometimes they couldn't sing. People that used to be background dancers somehow got a role on a leading show and they can't act, but you know, it just all goes with the Disney brand. Then they have merch, and then they have to produce the merch, and then they have their own commercials and XYZ. But like Disney has a system of how they do things, so even if it kind of sort of don't go together, it do go together, and it blends well enough to where the audience is entertained. You didn't do that. And like, no shade, no tea, but you're not doing that. You're not doing that. What he was doing was just oversaturating the whole entire thing. He was just putting everything out practically at once. He was promoting his artists while simultaneously promoting other artists, while simultaneously promoting himself. And you might get a few product placements in the video as well. It was a lot. It was a lot at once, to the point where it's just like, I don't even know what's going on anymore.
And it's like the white girl don't really fit. Like, you know what I'm saying? What's her name? Colette Carr. She don't really fit. She not fitting. Feel me? We in the Crenshaw district. We over here in Lamert Park area. Like, why is she here? Type shit. You feel me? But you know what I'm saying? It's probably one of them things like Nick Cannon was just trying to get everybody involved. You know, which is cool, because more of his artists were cameos in the video. There's another group called 4 Count, all white group, boy band, like Nsync. Like, that's the type, like Nick Cannon was trying to go crazy with the signing different types of artists. You got Colette Carr, you got Gabby Wilson, you got 4 Count, you got Schoolgirls. Can't forget about them, right? So, yeah, bro, he was going a little too crazy.
And this is why, even though School Dance is becoming a classic, and when School Dance came out, I can say that I was definitely one of the people that loved the movie, thought the movie was funny or whatever. When you look at it from a critical standpoint, from a business standpoint, from an actual legitimate movie standpoint, the storyline itself isn't good. Like, the build of the movie is not a good movie. Like when you really sit back and you look at the whole thing, it's not a good movie. It was entertaining, but it wasn't really all that. Pretty much what the movie was a bunch of celebrities all in one space so that the audience would be distracted to say, hey, I know that person. Oh, that's that one guy. Oh my God, that's there, that's there, that's there, that's there. And the jokes and the little bits or whatever, it was meant to be comedy, obviously. But again, it's like, we low-key forgot the storyline. Like, honestly, we forgot why we were even here to begin with. We forgot the whole lore of everything. Like, we just know this moment was funny. Oh my God, look at that happening in the background. And oh, hee ha ha, he said this. Oh, look, there's Kevin Hart. Oh, look, there's Cat Williams. It's like, when you really sit down and think about it, that was pretty much what he was banking on. And then Amber Rose is here, and all these other influencer girlies are here, and they're just like in the background. They're sometimes get speaking roles, but all in all, it's like, you know, it's just, it's a lot. It's a lot going on at one given time. It's like everyone that he knew personally, everyone that was signed to the label, they're just all on the movie. All of them. They're just all on set. Because that's essentially what was the appeal. Like, you want to be able to point and say, I know this person, I know this person. Laugh at the few jokes and the few bits that they had. But when it actually comes down to the actual, like, build and meat and potatoes of what makes a movie, it ain't a good movie. It ain't. And again, I like the movie, but this ain't really a movie. You know, like, it doesn't give movie. It gives a super long Instagram comedy skit. That's what it gives me. It's entertaining because it was meant to be entertaining and attention grabbing, but as far as a movie, it wasn't a movie. Like, when you sit down and think about it, it's not a movie. It's really not a movie. And again, it's like, the Rangers were never actors. Amber Rose was never an actor. I forgot the one blonde girl name, but the little mixed girl or whatever, she was never an actor. Why are they acting? Like, what's going on? And I mean, the Rangers did a good job for it to be their first time, though. I'm not gonna lie. They did pretty decent for it to be their first time on, you know, the big screen or whatever. But either way it goes, it's like, why? You know, like why? When did this happen? You know what I'm saying? Like, it just don't make sense. It just don't add up. So that was really like the biggest bulk of the problem dealing with the Ncredible brand, label, whatever it's trying to be. He tried to do multiple things at one time. And that was just within his projects. But even him as a brand himself, him as an individual, I think during this time, wasn't he on America's Got Talent at this point? But then he also was hosting Wild 'N Out. And then he was still the chairman of Team Nick. And I didn't find this out until like just recently. He also was the chairman of Radio Shack and was trying to save Radio Shack from being closed down. For what? Like what are we doing right now? And then that even has me thinking about the Ncredible headphones too. I wondered why I never seen them, and I wonder why I never seen nobody wearing them. He exclusively sold them at Radio Shack because he was the chairman at Radio Shack and he wanted to save Radio Shack. But mind you, you're trying to push a product. This product is targeted to teenagers. For the most part, it's targeted to teenagers. Anybody can listen to music, but let's be real. It was supposed to be in competition with Beats by Dre, which was also very much targeted towards teenagers. What teenager was going to a Radio Shack in 2013? This was around a time where Radio Shack low-key started closing majority of their stores in the first place. So like, there's like 2 Radio Shacks per state at this point. It's not even accessible. Even if they wanted to support Ncredible headphones, they can't. Like, what? And eventually, when Radio Shack ended up completely going bankrupt and closing all their stores, now the Ncredible headphones are in Office Depot. You know, So like that is really what the issue is. Nick Cannon tried to do too many things at once, and the products that he would produce, the projects that he would produce, a lot of them were like rush jobs. A lot of them just didn't, it just didn't give quality. It gave, I just want to put it out because I know I have the money to do so. And I just want to be able to say that I have this, that, and a third. But all in all, I have no idea what I'm doing. But I'm also not going to hire anybody to advise me or help me because this is my stuff. So you see why I think it's a bad idea that the Rangers signed to the label. That was a terrible idea. So the issue with this unconventional handshake method of a contract is that other talents that Nick Cannon would sign to, they would also come on board thinking that because they're given all these resources and this money and XYZ, that they're automatically going to make it big and they're automatically going to blow up. And in a lot of cases, from what the public has seen, a lot of these artists have essentially fallen off because they left the label once they didn't see the payout that they wanted, because they actually needed help, like not just with the resources, but also what do we do? We're new to this whole world. We need help. We are looking to you for help and you're not telling us anything. Now again, I've never heard nobody badmouth Nick Cannon, but it's like, it's very clear that the longevity of some of the talent that gets signed to him, they don't really last. And that's probably one of the bigger overarching issues as to why. And this would also be a similar problem with his original movies and TV shows. Wildin' Out is basically his most successful project. But the thing about Wildin' Out is that Wildin' Out had already been an established program way before Nick Cannon came into the picture. Nick Cannon eventually got ownership of Wildin' Out, but he was not always the owner of the show. His other projects, however, always lacked longevity. So let's talk about The Ncredible Crew. The Ncredible Crew was a sketch comedy show for kids that featured 6 teenagers participating in hilarious antics. It was supposed to be similar to the successful shows like All That and The Amanda Show that premiered on Nickelodeon back in the 90s and early 2000s. Subject matter can be debated if it was actually entertaining or not, but the biggest issue with this show is that it premiered on Cartoon Network, a channel that was dedicated to animation. So during this phase of life, there was a huge writer strike that was going on. So if you ever wondered why it was that huge chunk of time, like towards the mid 2010s, where it just seemed like everybody had a reality show and it was just reality show after reality show, it was because there was a writer strike. And it had been going on for, I want to say, about 3 years. Don't give me the lying, but I think it was about 3 years. So there was no original content being produced. There was no new content even being produced because there were no writers. So everyone's alternative was to turn to reality TV or live action television. So Cartoon Network, the network that showcases cartoons, they decided, okay, well, let's do some live action stuff. And a lot of it did not catch on. Ncredible Crew was one of them. So no surprise there, after 1 season, Ncredible Crew got canceled. So when it pertains to the movie School Dance, I was actually shocked to find this out, but School Dance actually flopped. It flopped. School Dance actually did not make as much money as people expected. And one of the main reasons as to why is because the movie was rated R. Remember when I said that this was supposed to be appealing to teens and tweens of the 2010s? And you made a movie that majority of the teens and tweens cannot see without a legal guardian? Why was that a choice? Why was that an option? Now, I will say, for America's policy on rated R movies, I will say that over the years, they have been a little bit more lenient with that rule. Like, I don't think anybody actually enforces for 13, 14-year-olds to not see an R-rated movie. I think they just don't really care. Like, I don't think it's as big of a deal as it was when it was like the 70s or something. But either way, there are still certain people where it's like R-rated movie, no. PG-13, barely. You know, so it's just like, it's very odd that you would specifically make a film that is targeted towards teens and it's R-rated. Like why? You know, like For what? And also, according to Langston, I'm not 100% sure. I tried to look into this, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Apparently, the movie was only shown in certain theaters. It wasn't available in all theaters across America. Again, we're trying to appeal to teenagers and tweenagers, but you're not really making it to where anybody can see it. I'm just not understanding. But I will say everything happens for a reason, because now the movie is very popular amongst, you know, the black community specifically. And that's due to the virality of the scene featuring Cat Williams, Tiffany Haddish, and of course DayDay. But when it first premiered, the movie itself genuinely flopped. But it's crazy because even though the movie flopped, it definitely helped the Rangers promote their biggest hit singles, which was Tip and Shake That. So in a way, it benefited the Rangers because of the music, but the movie itself really didn't pick up traction until after the Rangers had broken up. So it's wishful thinking, but maybe if the movie was successful in a good amount of time, the Rangers probably would have stayed together. Just a thought. But yeah, all in all, I feel like that was the biggest issue with them being signed to Nick Cannon. It wasn't a good choice for the types of artists that they were, for the situation that they were in at the time. And then not only that, I feel like there definitely is a problem with the label as far as like booking talent that can actually sustain itself. Because a lot of people, and me myself until I started doing research, I'm gonna be honest, but a lot of people kind of think that Nick Cannon's Ncredible label is very similar to Diddy Dirty Money. Like, I'm just being honest. A lot of them think that they're on the same tip where they just sign a bunch of people and none of these people take off because you've been secretly taking their money. Okay, like a lot of people think that that's what's going on, and it's because there really isn't much that has came out of the Ncredible brand. So yeah, again, I don't really blame Nick Cannon. I don't think that it was ever an issue with Nick. I think it was just not a good idea for the type of situation that the Rangers were in at that time. So here we are at the final stretch, the inevitable question that the fans want to know. When and why did the Rangers break up? So since there was never an official announcement of the breakup, I don't have an exact day that it happened. But once I started really looking into stuff and doing my research, I have an estimate. And I want to say that the breakup happened around like July 13th, 2014. And the gag of it all is that this breakup happened 2 weeks after the movie premiered. Right after School Dance premiered is when the Rangers broke up. We didn't even get to bask in the glory. Like, it was just that immediate, I guess. So what caused the breakup? So in short, Julian started to experiment with solo music while the Rangers were still in full effect. And because of this seemingly close bond that him and Langston had, Langston tended to follow in his footsteps. Like, Julian was always kind of like giving Langston the encouragement to do something different. So according to Langston, Julian is the reason why he even started getting tattoos. Julian is the reason why he decided, like, okay, I'm gonna give this music thing a try, because he would have never done any of this if Julian didn't kind of like push and persuade him to do it. So when he seen that Julian was starting to make his own music and he was starting to do his own little solo projects, that led Langston to do the same thing. But again, the group was still active during the time that all of this stuff was happening. So there was no recollection that the group was breaking up or slowly disbanding in front of everybody's face. So eventually, when that email was sent saying that the Rangers no longer existed, it was stated that it was because Julian wanted to go solo.
So yeah, bro, I was probably about 18, 17, 18 right here. Yeah, unfortunately, this was close to when the group broke up. Yeah, we were shooting the movie around this time, School Dance. Yeah, bro, it was just little things that, you know, I was starting to notice. I was just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Just little things, like little signs where I knew like the group wasn't really well, not about to last, but I just knew that we wasn't all on the same page. Me and DayDay was on the same page, but I just knew all of us wasn't on the same page. It was just little things that I just started to notice around this time. 5 years in, you feel me? 18 years old, yeah, bro. You can see the hunger. You can see nigga getting better at rapping. I'm like, I'm all in at this point. Like, I'm like, nigga, can't nothing stop us. You feel what I'm saying? Could nothing stop us at this point, man. But we all wasn't on the same page. I'm for the group. I'm a team player. I played on multiple basketball teams, baseball teams, football teams. I am a team player. You know what I'm saying? I like helping my niggas out. I like teamwork, make the dream work. I'm with all that shit. That's all I was about. Okay. I put the Rangers first. I didn't put myself first. I wasn't outside networking for myself as an individual. You know what I'm saying? I made connections, yeah, but it's like I wasn't networking like for myself. Like I'm a solo artist or some shit. Cause I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I was for the Rangers. I was for the team. I was like, nigga, this shit is never gonna end. This is gang for life type shit. That's what I was on. The fact that it ended the way it did, you feel me? I should have been more like prepared for that, you know what I'm saying? I should have been outside networking for myself. I should have been making connections and like, you know, preparing for the worst. You know what I'm saying? Worst case scenario, like the shit that I didn't think was gonna happen, it was possible it was gonna happen. And I had signs, I seen it, like, damn, niggas is not on the same page. Niggas is for themselves out here. Yeah, bro, we was on our way to the top, for sure. Like, yes, Lord, we was on the way, man. All we had to do was stay on the same page, man. Teamwork make the dream work, man. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? It's never me. I'm a team player. I grew up playing sports. So it's all about the team with me. Like, teamwork make the dream work. Everybody know they role. You get it done. Feel me? We had the world in front of us, bro. We just fucked it up. Everybody went on the same page. I've already said my piece about the Rangers on YouTube, what happened on the YouTube. If you was tuned into the reactions, then you already know how in detail I got about the shit behind the group, bro. Niggas is already putting it in the chat. Niggas already know. Stop acting like you don't know, bro. Stop acting like you don't know, bro.
But in one interview that I found, Julian had actually said himself that it was a group decision to break up because everyone was getting older and they wanted to do something new.
Now just take us back. Just take us back to 2009. You were in a rap dance group called called the Rangers.
Yep, the Rangers.
And you were formerly known as then Julian Alexander. So just a quick two-part question. Like, number one, why did you change your name? Number two, why did the Rangers split up?
And then the group, as far as the group, yeah, man, we just grew up, bro. It was just, it was just passing its course, bro. Like, every good thing has its end, Yeah. So everybody was pretty much just growing up, had their own things they do on their own.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it wasn't no argument or no big breakup. It was pretty much just like growing pains type of thing.
Yeah.
Now, I will say throughout this whole process, DayDay has been keeping to himself. He has not given any commentary on anything Ranger related. So we pretty much have two sides of a story and we just got to work with what we got. So now we are in present day and majority of the fans want to know, where are the Rangers now? So again, it's like 1,000,001 previous Ranger members. Everybody is not going to get a shout out. Everybody is not going to get a synopsis. Again, huge shout out to all of y'all, just in case you don't get mentioned. But sweetie, I'm not going to find all 20 of these people and keep you up to date with what they're doing. It's just not gonna happen. I'm so sorry. But again, love you. Shout out to y'all. You did your thing. Thank you for your services. But anyways, here are all the previous Rangers that I was able to find and what they are currently up to. When Julian first went solo, he went by the stage name of Julian Alexander. He has now rebranded and goes by the name Hit Wonder. He is also now a father of 2 and has seemingly calmed down significantly since his departure from the group. Langston is continuing his solo career under the name of L.A. Higgs. And as I've previously mentioned, as a side hobby, he also has a YouTube channel where he vlogs from time to time and does reactions to old Rangers content. You can also find him most of the time on TikTok Live previewing some of his unreleased music. DayDay has released a few singles of his own after the breakup and has even made a joint album with Langston, but he pretty much is now staying out of the way. He's not really all that present on the socials, but he can be found on TikTok from time to time showing off his skills. And he is also the father of a baby boy. After his departure from the group, Spotlight went on to have a solo career and went under various names. Lavelle Phantom, back to the name Spotlight, King Spotlight, and now he goes by Big Flex White. From the looks of it, he settled down as a family man and the music is now more so a hobby of his, and he is the father of 4 children. After the breakup of Jink ENT, CeeJay went on to pursue a solo career under the name Charlie. He has a few singles of his own, but he has yet to release an official project. D-Spank is an OG member of the Rangers, but he would eventually leave to become a member of the Action Figures. As of recently, he has done plenty of comedy skits on Instagram, went viral on TikTok a few times, and has even been featured in a movie called South Central Love on Peacock TV. Not sure exactly what his job profession is, but if you go on his Instagram, he is very well connected with a lot of celebrities. And he is also a father. Spank now goes by the stage name Amon the King. He has released music of his own as well as a few collabs with CeeJay. From the looks of it, he dips and dabbles into the YouTube pond as well, but as of recently, I haven't seen any new videos. Corey seems to have stayed out the way and is relaxing with life. He can be found periodically gaming on his YouTube channel. YT now goes by Fizz with a 1 where the I should be, and he continues to release music as well. Now, as I stated before, according to Langston, everyone is on good terms, everyone is cordial, but since the breakup, him and DayDay have gotten more close than they were before, and you can often see them hanging out together. And as of recently, Langston has been teasing a Rangers reunion. So hopefully by the time that we post this video, or a little bit shortly after, we actually get that reunion. But I have witnessed a few little miniature reunions between the group members. Ever since Jerkin started to go viral on TikTok during the pandemic, it encouraged a lot of previous Jerk teams to come out the cut, and one day they all came together and decided that they were going to do one more video. And there's even a video available on YouTube. I believe it's on CeeJay's channel, but I have to double check. CeeJay, Spank, and Spotlight had their own miniature reunion outside of that one. I also forgot to mention the most recent link up between Spotlight, DayDay, and Langston, and it also features Julian on FaceTime on Langston's phone.
Alright, here go, bro. Yes, sir. Hey, man, you should have pulled up, nigga. I know. Let me hit the Jamie. All right, bro. It's all good. We'll see you when we see you. That's crazy, bro. We from
I don't want to talk about that, bro. That's
for sure, man. For sure. All right, my boy. Ugly nigga. All right, we'll do. All right, one love, man. Gang, gang.
So believe it or not, I actually do have a little bit of hope that we're going to get that reunion. And there you have it, folks. That is what happened to the Rangers. And I want to give a huge special shout out to ThemPRangers archives on YouTube for re-uploading all of this content, because without you, we probably would not have a video. Majority of my information would probably be incorrect. If you guys do want to go down a little train of nostalgia, that is the YouTube channel to subscribe to look at if you want to see all the old content and all the old videos pertaining to the Rangers. They have the music videos, they have the vlogs, they have the dancing videos, all of it. And of course, special thank you to the Rangers themselves, new and old, because regardless if y'all made it all the way to the end or not, every single last one of you were just as important to the building of this brand. And as I already stated, y'all played a huge role in the Jerkin era in general, damn near the whole entire 2010s. So if you guys enjoyed this video, please do not forget to like this video, comment down below your favorite Ranger memory, and if there's anything that I didn't cover in this video, feel free to voice your opinions down in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't for more content like this, and of course, share if you can. So with that being said, I thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Impossible. Yeah.
like when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone.